In fewer than 15 minutes, Tom Haberstroh and Amin El-Hassan and Kate Fagan will come to life in the newsroom that will be the YouTube LeBatard and Friends feed, where they will break down the Ben Simmons trade and the James Harden trade. It's the same trade. They will break it down for you at 2 p.m. here on the YouTube channel.
They were traded for each other. That's right. The big news of the day on and that might be the big news of the week. And it's Super Bowl week, but the biggest news is Christopher Mad Dog Russo.
Well, that's right. The legend, the pioneer, the guy who was Stugatz long before Stugatz taught Stugatz how to be Stugatz. I don't think there is sound around here that we play more than when we have to go to clearance and say, can you get us the Mad Dog radio channel to approve an assortment of things? So it is very nice, Mad Dog, to have the original, the pioneer of sports babbling, of sports gasbaggery, of sports caring. It is nice to finally have you on the show. Thank you for making time for us.
Danny, anything for you? Long time. You've had a hell of a career. I know the guy next to you. He's a good buddy of mine. He's a big listener. I've been on many of his podcasts, Mr. Stugatz. But great to be with you guys, and good to be. And you're right. This trade, at least for a little while, sort of supersedes the Super Bowl, 100%.
All right. Well, give us everything you've got on that. And
Doggy.
Super Bowl one.
Yes, sir. Everything I got on that. First off, I can't stand Harden. I mean, what is it? He'll play there for a week, and he's going to get one. He doesn't like Amin, and he wants to get traded again. He got out of Houston after they took good care of him. They bring in Westbrook. He didn't like that. Then he gets traded to the Nets. I understand Kyrie Irving's vaccination status makes it a little dubious, but he bails on them. He doesn't want to make it public because he doesn't want any backlash to go back with his GM buddy there in Philadelphia. I'm down on him. I know how good he is, but I'm down on him. Simmons, listen, I'm down on him too. I'm down on everybody, matter of fact.
You're the dog. You're doggy.
I'm down on Simmons too, but I actually think it's probably a trade that will help both teams. And they had to solve the Simmons mess because he's sitting out not playing. Harden wanted out. Simmons with Kyrie and Durant. Embiid and Harden, it's probably a good trade for both teams. I just don't like it the way it was. Both players went about it. That's what bothers me most of all.
I like that as the tombstone on sports radio career at the end of it, whenever it ends. Not that we want it to end anytime soon. Just the quote, "I'm down on everybody."
Yeah, that's a good one. I got a lot of these crazy, wacky things that are gonna post-state me when I'm dead. But that is one. I'm down on everything. This is a big spot. People like to bring that up when I always talk about a big play being in a big spot. But listen, Harden's tough to root for. Let's be honest. I mean, he ate himself out of Houston on purpose. He gave that coach Silas trouble. He goes to the Nets. He got hurt a little bit last year. He played hard, and he shows up and plays. But now, trade me. I don't want it known publicly, so I don't want to get abuse, but get me out of here. So he leaves Durant hanging. He leaves. You can't root for him. And obviously Simmons is a baby because he didn't like the criticism that the Sixers gave him, and Embiid especially. So I'm down on him. Both of them, they can have each other. But maybe in the big picture, trade kind of helps both teams, clears the air. He'll be into with the center in Philadelphia, and Simmons with Kyrie, if they get this vaccination nonsense figured out, with Durant when he comes back. That's a good combination too. So from a standpoint of teams, where we are in the middle of the year in April and May, it's probably good for both Philadelphia and Brooklyn, to be honest with you.
Doggy, the Knicks, what a complete disaster.
Oh, mess. Randall's not that good. Barrett's is a fourth player on a good team. They're just not, they worked their rear ends last year to win 40, 45 games, and they got murdered by Atlanta. They don't have a big-time go-to player. Randall, the ball stops. He's also very sensitive to booing. He's making a fortune. It's New York City. You know how fickle the fans are. Look at me. I'm from New York. One day they love you, next day they can't stand you. You got to play through that. Thibodeau is a little stubborn too. He's always better, Thibodeau, early in his coaching scenario. He's a little bit like UB Brown. He kind of wears you out as it goes along. For the first year or two, he's great, and then you sort of get tired of him because every game is Game 7. And that's kind of where he is right now. But then they just have a lot of players. The Knicks don't have a lot of big-time players. And if you don't have a lot of big-time players, what do you expect? They don't have a franchise player. They got a lot of complimentary guys. Randall's not a franchise player. He's a borderline, top 20 player in the league if you push it. Not a big, and that's why the Knicks, probably struggle to be in that play-in tournament 7 through 10. So it's not a good year to be a Knicks fan. And they're frustrated because they got a little tease last year because they made the playoffs, they had some drama, they had some fun, and they expected the next level. It's not going to happen.
Oh, New York overreacted. You must have been embarrassed celebrating in the streets one playoff win outside the Garden. You must have.
What a joke.
What a joke.
Walt Frazier and Willis Reed turning, well, they're alive, thank God. I mean, geez, the Knicks making such a big deal about making a postseason and they get ambushed by Atlanta in 5 games. Trae Young mocking the fans at Madison Square Garden. Yeah, again, when you're that bad for that long, Dan, they're going to look for moral victories. And the Knicks last year, moral victory, they made the postseason.
Did you have them turning over in their graves?
Put it on the poll, please, Guillermo.
I was going to say that, but Willis is still with us, and Clyde's doing the game, so I can't say that.
Put it on the poll, Guillermo. Are Willis Reed and Clyde Frazier spinning in their graves even though they're alive?
Yeah, maybe Dave DeBuscher is. We love Dave DeBuscher. Maybe. But, yes, Clyde's great. We love Clyde, and Willis was one of the great. The Knicks, they're a bad team. I mean, let's be honest. This is not a big-time team. They will work hard to be the 11th seed, and they're going to get ambushed in a couple of games, and the season will be over. And, no great player wants to come to New York anyway. The weather stinks. The facility's 30 miles from the Garden, so you live in Greenwich and you deal with the FDR, with the West Side Highway. It takes you forever to get to the games. Nobody wants to deal with that. And you got the fickle fans. So one day they love you, the next day they boo you. Plus, there's a lot of media. So there's no big star wants to deal with the mantle of being the guy for the Knicks because it's a tough town to be successful in because you're going to hear about it. So that makes it a mess too. They are stuck in purgatory, to make a long story.
I have 1,000 questions for you, and we don't have enough time with you. But let me, before we go behind the music on some of the famous sounds of his that we have played before, I got to get to the news because I thought it was both great and funny that historic Black College Wednesday on First Take is soon going to feature Chris Mad Dog Russo going up against Stephen A. Smith, who's trying to celebrate on Wednesdays Black historic colleges, but also celebrate Mad Dog coming to bark at him. And you're going to embarrass him, correct? You're going to go at him. You're not going to be scared of Stephen A.
No, I won't be scared, but, the idea, of course, is, I don't want to embarrass anybody. Debate is one thing, embarrass is something else. I did that little thing 2 weeks ago at the Hall of Fame, and, Stephen texted me about 24 hours prior. I said, why don't you come and do the Hall of Fame? So I went down to Manhattan, and I did the 2 segments, and a day later, they said, would you like, if we can put something together, are you interested? And of course, I said, I'm not stupid. Of course. I'm 62 years of age, Dan. I usually are throwing you out of the media business, not allowing you another alternative. I'm usually, at 62, usually finished. So from that standpoint, to get an opportunity like that, it would be no-brainer to take it. But I will handle myself properly. I'm not going to sit there. I'll be noisy. And I'll be loud because that's what I do, as you guys know that better than anybody. But I'm not going to be a situation where I'm looking to pick fights just to pick fights. But we shall see if I can be successful with it. You know how that ESPN model works. You know Stephen A. well. I know him pretty well, too. Will I be successful? Will I have fun? I'll have fun with it. Whether the fans, that's the key. Will the fans like it? Stephen A. and I? It remains to be seen. They seem to like the idea, but you know how that works when you're doing a show in that situation. I did it with Mike forever. That chemistry has to be there, and hopefully Stephen A. and I have that chemistry. I don't see why not, but you got to do it first to see.
I want to plug your podcast. I want to play some of your own sound for you. So tell people about your podcast. And I also want to ask you, because of your legendary career, we're going to have you on again, if there's anything that you would go back and do differently with the Mike and the Mad Dog thing, because you guys broke up and you've had great success. But Frances is now done, and you guys were stronger together than you are apart, even though you're plenty strong by yourselves.
Well, I think the one thing that I would do differently, I didn't exit right. I think that would be the one thing. I kind of was not clear to Mike what my intention was in 08. I probably stumbled around there and didn't handle it. Then, the media picked up on it. I should have came clean right away. Mike, listen, I got an opportunity. I'm thinking about it. I didn't do that. So you got to give me grief for that. It was a very awkward conclusion to a 19-year relationship. So I don't like the way I handled that. As far as all the sayings go and all the, I just do the, Dan, you've listened. I just do the radio and I just be myself. And I've been lucky that the fans get a kick out of it. The mispronunciation of words, which is legendary. The loudness, me screaming and yelling about everything from, why my daughter didn't get into certain colleges. I went nuts on that. I mean, I tried to be myself. I try to be authentic. And I think people like the authenticity. I think if you're authentic and you don't pull airs and you try to be real, I think that's the key to anybody's success who does this for a long period of time.
What happened? What happened here? I need clarification here.
His greatest moment.
Greatest moment for
No. Hold on. What happened right here? Listen to this sound.
Okay.
That followed by Bonds, who at least didn't embarrass himself by going on national TV 10 years later to say, I cheated, let it stand. But is a Farah, how you pronounce it? Farah is a Farah now, as far as the world of sports is concerned, outside of that little area in the Bay Area, where the Giants continue to honor him to this day. Farah. And to the Giants continue to...
That's a bad one. See, that's an example. Yeah. I got to be careful with you two. Oh, my God.
What happened
You
there
got
was
all this
doggy
great
happened.
material. I remember when I screwed that up. I don't remember what year it was, but I can't pronounce these words. That is a perfect word. I can't get that dopey word out. And they said, Dan, that's a good job you found that. Give me something else. That's a fun
okay, well, he wants another one. He's got to get out of here. He's got to get out of here, but one more.
No, I know Utah's not Georgia. I understand that. And that's where it comes from. But I was thinking about that, the juxtaposition of what we saw with Ohio State.
He's laughing at him.
Oh, my God. Well, you get these from FedEx. You call up Fitzpatrick,
so
my PR guy, and it's very good. I see the pronunciation. But people identify with that. You make fun of yourself. You have laughs about yourself. People enjoy that. That's what I try to do. Don't take it too seriously.
We will have you on again to deconstruct some more, but one last question.
What's the single biggest thing the Bengals have to do to beat the Rams?
Block. Make sure that they don't go out there and let Aaron Donald and Vaughn Miller and everybody destroy They won't survive a 9-sack day like they did against Tennessee. Tannehill's not playing in this game. So they are going to have to go out there and block effectively. But I think there's something a little special about Cincinnati. I kind of think it's their time. I think the Bengals are going to win 24-21.
Doggy, before you get out of here, we appreciate it. We love you. Tell us about the new pod, Digging Up the Past.
I've done a lot of these. This one I'm working on the 80s college basketball, all the great games in the 80s. As a matter of fact, you know who I talked to today on the cell phone at 8 o'clock in the morning for this doc? Keith Smart.
Wow. Who
made this shot, of course, that beat Syracuse in 87. So I've done Larry Brown and Keith Smart and Packer and, trying to get Ewing and, PJ Carlissimo. So we're doing this particular era between the Bird Magic game and the Michigan Seton Hall game on the bad call by Clarkerty. So that's what we're working on right now. Good job.
Get out of here.
Yes,
we will have you on again,
Dan,
Mad Dog. Thank you for
Dan,
being on.
you've had a hell of a career. This is the first time I've been on. That's ridiculous. Let's go.
Yeah, all right.
Anytime you want me.
Dan, he wants you on for a half hour, and I get to co-host with Doggy.
Okay. Very good. Good talking to you, Mad Dog. I don't know how you snaked your way in there. Thank you, Mad Dog. I appreciate it.
That's the arrangement we have.
We have coming up around the corner here. They have been preparing, Kate Fagan, Tom Haberstroh, and Amin Al-Hassan, to give you 2 hours as the trade deadline approaches in reaction to breaking news. James Harden and Ben Simmons have been traded for each other. And I imagine that Amin and Tom and Kate will be very smart on this subject and everything happening with transactions. We will continue here on YouTube as an entity, live here over the next few hours. Don't go anywhere.
The NBA TURD deadline is now a major moment in sports. It's that window in the sports calendar when teams can mortgage their future for an aging star in the hopes of slightly increasing their title chances. It's when countdown clocks fill the backdrop of TV sets, and when Tom Haberstroh and Amin Al-Hassan hang out in the Clevelander lounge with a whiteboard and maybe Tom's guitar. But have you ever wondered where all this came from? I mean, not Tom and Amin, but the trading deadline, trades, this boardroom machination part of sports? No? I'll continue anyway. Like so many things in sport, curses, superstition, big personalities, we can trace it back to Babe Ruth. Well, kind of. And if you're wondering why we're talking about baseball in a story on basketball, Just give me a minute here. Baseball is the first organized team sport that America embraces. In the 1880s, killing off another beautiful sport, pedestrianism, when America was obsessed with watching people walk. And if you want to hear that story, check out Off the Looking Glasses episode, Pedestrianism. So baseball organizes itself, and of course, pretty much instantly it's obvious that trading players will be a thing. One team is two good first basemen, but no great pitchers. You get the idea. There's some dispute about the very first baseball trade, but it's either 1885 or 1886. Let's go with the one in 1885 because it's more interesting. That's when the Louisville Colonels traded John Connor and $750, that's about 20 grand in today's money, to Chattanooga of the Southern League for lefty Toad Ramsey. Ramsey is known in baseball history for the spin and rotation on his pitch, attributed to his, quote, overdeveloped left fingers courtesy of the Masonry trade. I kid you not. Hugh S. Fullerton, a noted sports reporter, once wrote of Ramsey that he could, quote, almost twist the cover off the ball by sheer strength. Okay, so trading players starts basically at the beginning of team sports. And it goes along without a trade deadline for a really long time, more than 30 years. The National League first dabbled with one in 1917, but these early trade deadlines in baseball weren't hard and fast. They had loopholes. Then in 1920, of course, the Boston Red Sox trade the Babe to the Yankees for $100K. And it's that move that angered the owners of a lot of teams. For many reasons that we need not get into, but mostly because the Yankees flashed so much cash while the owners were busy crying poor to the players. Sound familiar? But it's a handful of successive trades, one including the Red Sox, late in the season and a few pulled off by the New York Giants, that really sets off the rest of the league. It seems clear that these richer teams could just buy the pennant with talent in late July or early August, and baseball just couldn't have that. Bam. After the 1922 season, Commissioner Kennesaw Mountain Landis instituted the league's first Ironclad trade deadline, June 15th. It stayed that way for 60 years. The date would eventually change, but the principle would not. The final chunk of a sports season must be free of trade upheaval. And it seems all subsequent sports leagues adopted this principle from the beginning, from the learnings of Major League Baseball. The NBA has had a trade deadline since the year it marks as its beginning, 1946, with the founding of the BAA, the Basketball Association of America. In 1947, the deadline moved from January 1st to midnight January 20th. 2 years later, it was moved to February 10th. It moved a couple more times until 1987, when it was locked in at 9 p.m. Eastern on the 16th Thursday of the season. It's been approximately that until the legendary DeMarcus Cousins trade of 2017, when Boogie was traded by the Sacramento Kings during the All-Star game, but he had to go out and represent the Kings anyway. Well, the league couldn't have that, so after the season, it set the trade deadline where it currently stands, 3 p.m. Eastern on the Thursday, 10 days before the All-Star game. The NBA has recorded every deadline deal since 1987, and if you go back and look at the transactions, the data mirrors what we know to be true. Player movement has become an increasingly important part of the league's story. In 1987, one trade was made involving two teams and one player. Over the next 10 years, the player movement ebbs and flows, sometimes just one deal, sometimes a few. But then in 2005, it explodes. 14 teams making 10 trades involving 29 players. Last year was the biggest trading deadline in history, as measured by players involved. 48. Today's ends in a few hours, and there's only one way to find out what happens. Tune in to Tom and Amin, TURD Deadline.
And we are live. It is the TURD Deadline. I am Tom Haberstroh, and that's Amin El Hassan. Marvin Bagley got traded.
TURD Deadline. You gotta say it like Sling Blade. TURD Deadline.
We got TURD Deadline here.
All types of turds happening all around the NBA, you know, and we got Jalen Smith getting turded for Torrey Craig. We've got Bobo turded to Orlando. We've got Sabonis. Is that how you say it?
Yeah.
But most importantly, we've got the big turd himself, Ben Simmons, finding his way to Brooklyn in exchange for James Harden.
Well, we got, so many trades to go through today.
Turds.
So many turds. And what I want to say is, poor Steve Nash, 4 days ago on Sunday, said he talked to James Harden before the game. And look, I talked to James Harden. He said he's not going anywhere. He wants to stay here. He wants to stay here long term.
Yep.
And then 4 days later, James Harden is traded to not just any team, but a division rival in the Philadelphia 76ers.
And yet somehow Steve Nash isn't the person who was lied to the most, apparently, in the last 48 hours.
Okay, we're going.
Hey, I'm just saying. I'm just saying. Like, we were told emphatically. Let me read the quote. The quote was, let's see here. Yes, that's right. Having multiple devices makes it hard to
We
keep
have
track.
16 devices in front of us here.
Right now, there's no negotiation going on between Philadelphia and Brooklyn. The idea that they're going back and forth, that's been surmised by some, I don't think that's an accurate thing. That's what we were told on February 9th, 2022, Tom.
And then today from Adrian Wojnarowski, he was
Breaking
reporting.
news, guys. Harden got traded. I had it first. Make sure you give me the credit. Not the guy that I said was surmising. Surmising. What do you think? What do you think happened there, Tom?
Well, then he walked it back today. He said,
Well, yeah,
they've engaged, but it's not serious. No meaningful conversations have existed between Sean Marks and Daryl Morey. But we know what happens in the league. It is true that assistant GMs or other front office people engage in trade talks before it gets up to the Sean Marks and Daryl Moreys of the world. But that feels like you should be reporting that they are seriously talking when one of your colleagues, Brian Windhurst, who has as much credibility as anybody in the business, is reporting straight up. I don't care what you've been hearing. They are talking. They are talking. They are engaged in a trade. And James Harden screaming to everybody, I want out.
Look, that Windhurst report, if you follow Brian Windhurst, you know he rarely puts his neck out on the line that far. Like, never. Brian is very careful, does things very delicately, and often tries not to contradict colleagues. But the fact that he doubled and tripled down like that told you how good his intel was. And instead of getting hey, Brian's hearing this, I'm hearing something different, what we got instead was an attempted kind of watering down of Brian's reporting, where the quote is, and I'll repeat it again, this was on air to Mike Greenberg, right now there's no negotiation going on. The idea that they're going back and forth, that's being surmised by some, I don't believe that to be accurate. By some. Why didn't it say, well, I know Brian Windhurst is saying this, but guys, I'm hearing different.
He could have done that. He could have done that.
He could have done that. I'm telling you, ladies and gentlemen, not accidental.
So we have a board here. Shit that's happened.
Shit that's happened.
Shit that might happen.
Shit that might happen.
Windhurst 2024, on that note, we think he might be running for president. We are not sure. I will work to confirm.
Perhaps.
That Brian Windhurst is going to run for the ticket.
Before we go over shit that's happened, because I think everyone's kind of up to date. You're on Twitter just like us. I'm on my tweet deck here. I'm refreshing. I want to go over shit that might happen. I think that's a little sexier, right?
Yeah.
Speaking
of sexy.
Yes.
Goran Dragic.
Goran Dragic to Miami as a buyout candidate. He's been traded to San Antonio from Toronto. He went for Thad Young, and they threw a first-round pick to make that happen. So San Antonio gets a first-round pick.
Yep.
Toronto gets Thad Young, who's a guy that really fits the way they want to play as this kind of versatile combo forward guy, another one of those 6'9" guys.
But how does Goran get to Miami?
Well, here's the deal. So the NBA has a rule. They made it, I think it was it might have been for Jerry Stackhouse. Jerry Stackhouse got traded somewhere and then immediately got bought out and immediately signed back with the team that traded him away. And so teams were complaining that teams were basically doing trades and not even giving up anything, really. They're just getting more players. So the NBA made this rule that there's a kind of a moratorium after you get traded from a team, that if you become a free agent, you can't go back and sign with that team unless you get traded somewhere
else, Tom.
So now he's open to being traded. He's allowed to be eligible to be traded to the Miami Heat.
Well, he's eligible to sign with the Miami Heat after he gets bought out in San Antonio, which is what all the reporting is saying. Chris Haynes from Yahoo said Dallas is a front runner. And, I love Chris Haynes, and usually he's really on point. But we get a conflicting report from our friend Mark Stein. Mark Stein, who lives in Dallas and is very connected with the Dallas Mavericks organization, says, pump the brakes. It may not be that easy as Dallas is expected to have, quote, serious competition. Now, there have been several teams named out there, Tom.
But what name has not been mentioned among the suitors that we have seen publicly so far is the 305.
Bienvenido a Miami.
Goran Dragic, reunion to Miami. We are watching the ticker. It is 48 minutes away. The TURD deadline is 48 minutes away. And we're expecting that Goran Dragic will be bought out by the San Antonio Spurs. We'll see where he goes. We've also got a Russell Westbrook, John Wall, perhaps a swap.
Perhaps.
We'll see.
Perhaps.
Stay tuned to the TURD deadline.
That one at all, or?
Yeah, well, Russell Westbrook, for the first time this season, sat out last night's game. Did you see that? I mean,
tightness.
He had back tightness.
Boy, that tightness going around. It's more than the Omicron. That tightness.
Achilles tendinosis. No, this was the first time that Russell Westbrook magically is out the day before the trade deadline.
Did you use the word magically there on purpose?
No.
You don't know about the Patrick Beverley tweet?
No.
Oh, my gosh, Tom, what rock have you been living
Fill
under?
me in.
Oh, my gosh. So if you recall correctly, Russell Westbrook said about Patrick Beverley that he doesn't really defend. He's got everybody fooled, right?
Yes.
Remember that comment?
Yes.
Patrick Beverley today tweeted, I remember when somebody said, all I do is run around and trick y'all. Well, my boy is the real magician this year. Real magician is capitalized, by the way. So,
for Russell Westbrook and LeBron James, this has not been working out for them. Even though LeBron James recruited Russell Westbrook to join the Lakers, it has been an absolute dumpster fire. But over there in Houston, we've seen another player, not just Ben Simmons, sitting out for this entire season.
Another clutch client, by the way. John Wall hasn't played a single minute. He's been healthy. He's been practicing. He does not play. This was a mutual agreement between Wall and the Rockets.
Allegedly.
Rich Paul went on the record and said this is when I asked Rich Paul about the Ben Simmons situation, he pointed to the John Wall situation as that's an example of an organization working with us, right? So then we get that, and then the deal doesn't get done as quickly as I think they imagine it would.
Right.
And you get a little.
The market was a little tepid for John Wall this year, but now you have the Lakers,
who are desperate.
What is lower than tepid for Russell? The Lakers' fervor for Russell Westbrook right now? It's lower than tepid.
Frigid
cold.
Yeah.
So Russell Westbrook could be swapped again for John Wall.
Right.
But to incentivize the Houston Rockets here, maybe the Los Angeles Lakers throw in their 2027 first-round pick, maybe protect it a little bit, just incentivize get John Wall, who might fit better.
And it might not even be that, by the way, because Houston's in a situation where it's looking like a John Wall buyout. Wall and Westbrook have the same exact contract. So it's a buyout either way for Houston. Now, they could say, even if you get a second-round pick out of it, that's still something more than if you had just stood strong and went status quo. The next name on the list is Jeremy Grant. This guy.
Watch him in Brooklyn. Watch out.
You think Brooklyn is in play?
Watch out for this trade. Brooklyn Nets trade Joe Harris, Claxton, and some picks that they just got in this deal from Philly and try to get Jeremy Grant to be their swing guy, a 3-4.
Now,
next to Kyrie Irving, next to Kevin Durant, and they have Andre Drummond now at the 5.
Now, there's other reporting out there that Portland is still hot to trot for Jeremy Grant.
Why?
I don't know.
Why? What is Portland doing?
I don't know.
We'll get to that later.
Get to that later.
But Amin. Amin. Let's talk about this Simmons trade.
Couple more things real quick. We've got George Hill. I haven't heard anything. Now, this is just my opinion. Now, I haven't talked to anybody. Now, I don't know a single thing. But George Hill gets traded every year, ladies and gentlemen. He is the official mascot of the trade deadline. And it won't be a trade. It's like, is it Christmas if we don't see Santa at the mall? Is it trade deadline if we don't see George Hill on the block? Be honest.
Yeah, if it's 305, I will say unless George Hill gets traded, the trade deadline is not over.
There you go. And
Other
finally,
thing-
shit that might happen. Kyrie vax? Maybe not. All right. Shit
To the
that's
top.
happened.
Ben Simmons, Seth Curry, Andre Drummond, and 2 first-round picks to the Philadelphia 76ers for James Harden and Paul Millsap. To me, Amin, breaking this trade down for the future, I actually think that the Philadelphia 76ers gave up too much in this deal. Yes, they get James Harden, former MVP, in the deal.
And he opted in.
Opts into his player option next year, which is basically him saying, like, yes, I do want to be here long term. I want this player option. I'm not going to potentially leave you this summer. So he's opted in for next season. But to me, the Sixers gave up one of the best three-point shooters in the NBA in Seth Curry. And if you want James Harden and Joel Embiid to succeed, you need shooters. And they just gave up one of the best shooters in the NBA. So you're relying a lot on Danny Green at this stage of his career to space the floor and Tobias Harris. So I'm a little nervous about that. Then you throw in the 2 first-round picks. There's a 2022 first-round pick, which isn't going to be all that great. And then the 2027 lottery protected.
Top 8 protected.
Top 8 protected pick. To me, I like this deal a lot better for the Brooklyn Nets than I do for the Philadelphia 76ers. What do you say?
I think this is the part that a lot of people have problems with. In this era that media members, fans, we've all gotten accustomed to value what could be down the line more than what is right now, right? And when you're in a front office and you're in the championship window, no one wants to hear about what could be. Everyone wants to know what is right.
But how do you do that when Kevin Durant's dealing with a sprained MCL, Kyrie Irving's playing half of the games, and Ben Simmons hasn't played in a year?
Well, I'm talking about Philly. I'm not talking about Brooklyn.
Well, I'll also point out the fact
because
that
you're saying,
even though I like the Brooklyn deal, it's still just so much uncertainty there.
For Brooklyn?
Yes.
Wow, I thought you were going the other way.
Well, I'm saying I don't like the whole fact that Seth Curry is in this deal, but the other stuff, even if I do like this deal better for Brooklyn, it's still a lot of uncertainty.
Is it any more uncertain than a guy who's screaming, "Get me out of here," who has a player option? I think Brooklyn got a home run deal. Let me just say that right now. They got the younger guy. They got the more athletic guy. They got the better defensive player. They got the guy who does things that they don't already have on their roster. They got a great shooter, Seth Curry, on a great contract. They got Doc Rivers' grandbabies that he was talking about the other day.
Did we just realize that Doc Rivers traded his son once before Austin and then traded his son-in-law?
Yeah.
Doc Rivers.
Cold-blooded, Doc. I see you, though. I see you.
Doc Rivers traded his son and his son-in-law.
Oh, my gosh. What is in front of my camera right now?
Oh, my God.
Both of these teams got a lot better. Both of them went right to the top of the East, correct?
This is so intense, man.
Can't do
I
this.
can't look at him in the eyes. His bloodshot eyes.
Did they not go to the top of the conference? The two of them get better enough to go to the top of the conference?
No, I still got Milwaukee. And we'll see about the Miami Heat with Goran Dragic because I do think they didn't need another scorer. But there's too much uncertainty in Brooklyn. I don't know. Until this vaccination status changes, I can't bank on Brooklyn.
Or the law changing.
Yes.
That's a possibility, too.
Kevin Durant's got a bum knee right now.
How much worse are the Nets around Durant than the one that was a toenail from beating the Bucks in last year's playoffs without Ben Simmons?
I think they're better. The Nets today are better than that team if we're healthy, if guys are playing.
No Joe Harris.
If healthy, right?
But what are we doing here?
Well, he's saying how much better is this roster?
I'm asking you. I'm talking about. We were talking about LeVert 2 years ago and the pieces around the three guys. That team with Durant on it was good enough with a bunch of interchangeable parts that if Joe Harris is merely not a terrible three-point shooter at the end of the games, as opposed to not the best shooter in the league like he was all season. I'm asking you about the complementary parts and how much they matter.
Well, they certainly matter, and that's why I think they wanted to do this deal is they needed players. They needed Seth Curry, spacing the floor, and he's a great guy to play off ball, on ball. But when you talk about the Brooklyn Nets, like Kevin Durant's knee, he can't shoulder the load as much, so Seth Curry's going to help there. Kyrie Irving, of course, we'll see what happens. Yeah. Ben Simmons is such a better fit than James Harden.
Yeah.
such a better fit because James Harden is, in my opinion, redundant next to Kyrie Irving and Kevin Durant. Redundant.
Except for one situation. The situation they're in right now, where one guy's hurt and the other guy only can play half the games. Harden is actually more of a need for the Nets today than Simmons is. But when healthy, that's what I said. When they get everyone back, I'd rather have Simmons than Harden. Not because he's a better player, but he's a much better fit for this team. And then all the future stuff. He's 25. He's under contract. He's relatively durable. Harden is a guy, as we said, has a lot of mileage on him, right? Has played a very physical style of basketball for a long time. Doesn't exactly have the best health regimen in the league, right? And has been hurt recently as a result of all these factors. Now he's joining Joel Embiid, who, Tom, you like to point out, not exactly the vision of perfect health either. Daryl Morey is taking a risk here, but he's saying we are better today than we were yesterday.
The Philadelphia 76ers are going to be unwatchable this year.
Text it, man. Keep going. Juju slide the phone for me out across the floor. I'm like,
why don't you just come over
Yeah,
here?
just-
Juju?
yeah,
Why
Juju.
you slide like
Can you be our breaking news?
Like we're a real big.
Do you see how this
professional? Look
man-
at how I'm
look at his
dressed.
dress.
You want him to?
Yeah,
What was the news you were trying to deliver?
Yeah, can you just sit here and please deliver the news? All right. We got
He just
Juju
went to go
Gotti,
get his
the man
shave.
behind the LeBatard show, Twitter feed, socials, everything extraordinaire. Please, what do you have for us?
Proud of me, first of all. Charlotte is acquiring Washington center Montrezl Harrell for Vernon Carey and Ish Smith.
wow, whoa, that's your guy. Yo,
Change my background on my phone.
so Tom Habistro, his power rankings of greatest players in NBA history, Ish Smith is 2 or 1 behind Muggsy Bogues.
He's number 1.
He's number 1. All right.
Greatest tiny players in NBA
No.
history. Greatest quick players in
No.
history. Just
greatest.
Paul also in my top 3.
There you go. That's the
Josh
holy.
Howard.
Whoa, remember Josh Howard?
Might be
I
in the
do
top
remember
3.
Josh Howard.
The-
Second best player on a championship team, or no? Second best player on the finals team of the Mavs.
Literally, my phone background is Ish Smith in a Charlotte Hornets uniform.
Why?
Now I got to change
because
it.
he lives in Charlotte and because Ish Smith is his guy,
That's my guy.
right? Josh Howard is so funny to me. I know this is not TURD deadline talk, but Josh Howard, remember, he was a pariah because he admitted to smoking weed and he didn't want to stand for the national anthem. And they just ran him out of the world.
That's right.
And today he'd be a hero.
A pioneer.
Today he'd be right there with Kaepernick doing ads for Nike.
I don't believe that that's what would Howard
No?
happen to Josh Howard, but I think you're right
Maybe not.
that he was 10 years ahead of his time in that weed was not scandalous and neither was not participating in the anthem.
You got more breaking news, Tom. You want to put this on the board? Aaron Holiday, the third Holiday brother.
Yep.
He's going to Phoenix. Hell of an upgrade for him.
I think people only want to talk about Simmons and Harden,
I know.
and I want to
They're
ask
gonna, all right, to finish my thought there, Dan. They're going to be unwatchable. The 76ers are going to be unwatchable. James Harden and Joel Embiid are number 2 and number 3 in free throws attempts per game in the NBA. They're going to live at the free throw line, and it is going to be so boring.
I like free throws.
You like free throws? This is the hottest take I've ever heard. Who likes
Nobody
free
likes free
throws?
throws.
Nobody,
You don't like free
watching
throws?
Oh.
Who likes watching free throws?
It's a great opportunity to get caught up on other things. Like, I
No,
can
you
go-
don't like free throws. You like the freedom that free throws gives you.
You can
That's
stop
what the
watching the game and check your Twitter
That's
account.
That's what the free is for, man. For the freedom. Come on now. No,
Can't believe it.
I want to ask you this question.
Uh-huh.
End of a game between Milwaukee and Brooklyn now. Giannis has the ball, and they're down 1. Who's coming to the top to guard him? Or do they, what are they going to do with Simmons? Simmons makes them good defensively by himself if he's what he was last year?
I think Simmons, if he's in his right frame of mind and he's healthy, he is a Draymond Green, Rudy Gobert, Bam Adebayo level defensive player where he said, I alone can take us from wherever we are now to much, much better. In that scenario that you're painting, I would say Simmons is the guy who's coming out to guard Giannis. And the big reason for that, beyond he's the best person for the job at that size and that athleticism, is also I want Kevin Durant to be focused on putting buckets, getting buckets, man. I don't want you wasting energy trying to deal with this physical force of nature in Giannis.
Yeah, I'm with you. And Ben Simmons.
Well, good luck, Middleton, though, with now Durant on you.
Yeah.
Because, right?
Yep.
Yep. And look, I think the Brooklyn Nets wanted to get Matisse Thybulle in this deal, but when you have Ben Simmons, he is redundant. Like, you already have the on-ball defender who can guard anybody 1 through 5. So, look, I really like this deal from Brooklyn, but there's so much uncertainty, and I still don't put them above the Milwaukee Bucks in those standings.
Mike Ryan, why don't you come over here and eat some chips and talk to them about how unimpressed and wildly right you are about the Brooklyn Nets for underestimating them for 2 years. You've been mocking them, as I've called them, the most interesting team in the league.
It didn't work. I won.
I mean, they were never healthy. They were never.
But that was part of the analysis.
Yeah, that was part of my data that I was taking in when I said this isn't going to work.
Wait, but
because they got a bunch of guys that are hurt, amongst other things.
You're a little conflicted, though, because then, does that mean that you think Philly won the deal here?
Yeah, because
aren't you?
Don't you have an anti-Philly thing going
Philly
on?
won the deal just based off of the fact that they had a guy that wasn't playing, and now they got a guy that is playing.
Well, are you trying to tell me the hamstring tightness isn't real?
No, look, they got problems with Harden, but Ben Simmons wasn't seeing the court for them ever again. At least with Harden, that's in the cards.
Is there any part of you put yourself in a Pablo Torre state of mind? If you could use the voice, please, that would be awesome.
The thing.
Is there anybody that's worried about the long-term durability of that duo from a health standpoint?
For Phillies?
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely.
No, I need the Pablo voice.
Oh, sorry. The thing is, when you've got Joel Embiid and James Harden, these are two players that kind of get hurt a lot.
Is it just me, or is that kind of like Pablo doing a Stephen A. Smith impression, is what you just did there?
You want to do Pablo and Stephen A?
Yeah, we could.
Oh.
All right.
Yeah, this is good.
The representative data would suggest that James Harden might not be available in the postseason.
Brother Pablo, you know I have infinite amount of respect for you. You're one of our most highly decorated and educated members here at ESPN.
But you mean to tell me that Joel Embiid and James Harden aren't going to dominate on the way to a championship? The city of Philadelphia won't stand for it.
Insane. I think we did well there.
That was good.
Philadelphia, I think, very clearly wins this just because they get out from the Simmons contract, which was a contract that was not playing for them right now actively. James Harden does have a ceiling that's higher than someone that's not playing right now. I think we can all agree. And I actually really like the trade for Brooklyn. I don't think Ben Simmons' lack of shooting, depending on what Kyrie's vaccination status is, and especially if they don't have home court, that actually might play into Brooklyn's hands quite a little bit. That's the prevailing conspiracy theory on the web. But his facilitator nonsense that bit Philadelphia in the ass last postseason might kind of fly there on a team with Kyrie and KD.
I do like James Harden's fit with Joel Embiid defensively. Think about it. James Harden doesn't have to worry about getting lost defensively and just taking a nap and not having that guy on the back line to save him. Joel Embiid might be the best defender in the NBA.
Yeah.
And now he's going to get paired with James Harden. So I think in terms of skill sets, they're great. And remember, James Harden did play with Dwight Howard in Dwight Howard's prime, right? Post back surgery, okay, whatever. But the idea is James Harden with an elite defensive big man behind him,
Right.
that's going to be worth 55 wins every year.
Yeah.
It was with Kevin McHale as the head coach. That might have been like a decade ago, but still, James Harden needs a Joel Embiid to maximize his efficiency.
Not only that, but also Embiid is a level of player in his own right that Dwight Howard wasn't. And so Dwight Howard would pout because he wouldn't get touches, but the reason he don't get touches is like, bro, posting up is not your strong suit, right? You don't
Stop listening to Shaq.
Yeah,
Forget about being Shaq.
You don't have that problem with Joel Embiid. You've got a bona fide bucket getter in his own right, and things just get easier. By the way, speaking of Pablo Torre, he did have this tweet that I really enjoyed. This is why you don't trade Ben Simmons for De'Aaron Fox.
Yeah.
I think you could do a corollary to this. This is why you don't trade Ben Simmons for Malcolm Brogdon. This is why you don't trade Ben Simmons for C.J. McCollum. This is why. But I remember when people were saying C.J. for Ben, and I love C.J. I think he's a great guy, great locker room guy. He's a very good player. He's not in the same conversation as Ben Simmons. And barbershops across America exploded when I said that. What? C.J. do this? I'm like, that's all well and good. Name something other than scoring that C.J. is better than Ben Simmons at. There's nothing. He's so much more of an impactful player, and we see that today in this deal that he gets traded for an elite player. Daryl Morey's mythical list of 30 names came true. He got one of those 30 names, perhaps one of the top 5 names on his list.
Right, and there was talk like, wait, so if Sacramento was willing to trade Tyrese Halliburton and Buddy Hield, how does Daryl Morey not trading Ben Simmons for that package? Well, it's because he's got James Harden.
It's because they had assurances. It's because they had assurances.
What's that mean? What does that mean?
Are you surmising that there are people out there?
No,
who...
I'm not surmising anything. I know it to be true. This thing was plotted for months.
Plotted
beyond
months.
Yeah, I didn't hear that this morning.
Months.
I was
told,
no.
This is why I was
told they haven't.
This is why I was cocksure about this trade happening. I'm sorry about eating on the air. I know that's not a popular bit, but
no, this is
my only meal.
It's the TURD deadline, baby.
Yeah, this
TURD's got to get made.
I know you guys discuss the Woj report about I'm not asking to force my way out. Woj is. That was interesting.
Who do you think leaked that?
It's a wonder to me. Who knows?
Like who does that help? Because I talked about.
It doesn't help James Harden because
it helps Woj get in tighter with James Harden.
I talked about this with Zach Harper earlier.
That makes him look sensitive. That he's afraid of the backlash and he doesn't.
The Nets were pushing for Tybal and Curry, or excuse me, Tybal and Maxey, I believe. And the Sixers were saying absolutely not. And so Curry, who may have been an untouchable before today, ends up being the casualty for them. You think that this is pretty big that they lost Curry? Forget about the picks and whether Harden's going to be healthy in a couple of years. What about right now? Do you think the Sixers will miss Seth Curry?
That's a great. I mean, I think they're going to miss him because he's a better shooter than Maxey. He's a better shooter than Tobias Harris. And he's a guy who can spell James Harden as the predominant ball handler. But it becomes a little bit of an excess, right? If you have James Harden on your team, Seth Curry is not going to be, that on-ball pull-up three-point shooter that he was so valuable to them this year. So, yes, by virtue of getting traded to Brooklyn, it means that James Harden's going to fill that role. So they don't miss him as much. But I just think that when you talk about what they could have gotten, James Harden in this deal, I don't know that you need to throw in Seth Curry. You don't need to throw him in. I mean, what, is Brooklyn really not going to take Ben Simmons and 2 first-round picks and Andre Drummond to start for them and just walk away with that?
It's funny because, on the other hand, all the problems they had with Joe Harris before he got hurt about not being a reliable enough shooter when it matters, that kind of goes away, right?
Breaking news, Dallas is trading Kristaps Porzingis to the Wizards.
Wow.
Shams Charania is reporting for The Athletic Stadium.
You see what we're going for, right? Yeah, we've got a sound effect.
Whee!
Thank you. We're going for Spencer Dinwiddie. Buyer's remorse in the nation's capital already. Spencer Dinwiddie, big free agent signing this summer for Tommy Shepard and the Wizards.
The dots are connecting, Amin. Kristaps Porzingis to the Wizards. Spencer Dinwiddie out. Who's going to play point guard for the Washington Wizards?
Ish Smith? Oh, Russ.
Ish Smith.
I was just saying.
Who's gonna back up Ish Smith in Washington?
There you go, John Wall. Russ.
Russ. So we're still waiting for the dots to be connected here. We're still waiting. 22 minutes
Different
left in the
dots.
TURD deadline. The Lakers still have not traded Russell Westbrook. I'm a little surprised that they haven't made a deal, considering he's got that back injury.
Question: are the Nets going to be the most popular franchise in the history of Australia? Because you got Ben Simmons, Patty Mills, and Kyrie Irving, all three of them born down under. And you know how the turds swirl down under? Counterclockwise.
That's right.
Yeah.
What are the Mavs doing here?
I think they did not like Porzingis.
But they were playing well this year with Porzingis. Like Luka and Porzingis with Jason Kidd, like they had a resurgence on the defensive end this year. You got Luka Doncic and a top 10 defense going into the playoffs.
Yeah. I think there's a school of thought.
And Dinwiddie has not looked good this year.
No, he hasn't.
He has not.
It doesn't look like he's recovered from that ACL procedure he had last year.
That's
Remember,
right.
It's only been about a year since he's been out.
Wow, Dallas, the 5th seed right now, one of the best defenses over the last couple months, decide to bail on Kristaps Porzingis for a trade of Davis Bertons, who's one of the elite three-point shooters, can stretch the floor at the 4, and Spencer Dinwiddie. I don't like that deal for Dallas. I don't. Wow.
Diagnosis rather than we don't like the way he plays, because as you pointed out, they've been playing really well. Jason Kidd has them boys playing.
Yeah, so Kristaps Porzingis this year.
Oh my gosh! There's more to this.
$32 million this year. Next year is 34, and the year after that, he's got a player option for $36 million.
Tom,
breaking news.
It's kind of breaking news. Also in that deal, Davis Bertans is going to Dallas.
I mean, I just talked
Steve Martin
about
also.
With a prop comic.
I just talked about this. You just don't listen to me?
No, I don't.
I talked about him being a
It's
space.
turd deadline. I'm confused. There's turds floating everywhere. The hell am I supposed to be doing?
Hey,
Listening to you or keeping up with these turds?
I'm wondering what a certain person who might have, had 2 terms as the president of the United States feels about this deal. I mean, Kristaps Porzingis now in Washington, D.C. I'm just curious if anyone has an opinion, a former U.S. president has an opinion about Kristaps Porzingis joining.
Now, Tom, that's an interesting question. Davis Bertans, he was underachieving. When you look at the budget, it's in the trillions, and we need to balance it. But Governor Romney doesn't want that. He wants the budget out of balance.
Right.
So you bring in Porzingis, he gives you an opportunity to act as a centerpiece, even though they have Thomas Bryant and the young fella Daniel Gafford. But
Thomas Bryant coming back from an ACL.
Coming back from an ACL as well. So it seems to me Tommy Shepard is collecting the island of misfit toys. Now, my team, are we going to talk about my team, the Chicago Bulls?
No, I have one more question. Bradley
okay.
Beal, like you feeling confident, Barry, about Bradley Beal?
Well,
signing long term, he could be a free agent this summer.
He's got a player option, but he's probably going to opt out of that. He'll be in his 10th year of service, so he's eligible for that larger cap bump. I was telling my wife, Michelle, my daughter, Sasha, Malia, that Bradley Beal is a bona fide star. And if you have an opportunity to lock him up, you do so. But if he doesn't commit to you, you might have to look for a trade.
Bulls this year, are they back?
Well, my Bulls, Tom, I'm glad you mentioned that. My Bulls, DeMar DeRozan's got to be the MVP. No?
No, I would say he's not the MVP.
No, you're just a hater, Tom Habestraw.
Yeah.
Just like that man, Mitch McConnell.
God, people love calling me hater, Stro, these days.
Why? Is it because you are a hater?
Oh, God.
Get in the chopper.
Let's
go to
Arnold. You've already done Arnold. You've done Barry. You've done Steven.
Well, it's not just Arnold. It's nice to meet you, Tom Habestraw.
All right, so I got to put this on the board, right? We got Kristaps Porzingis traded.
Yep. Aaron Holiday to the Suns. I feel like the rich just got richer. right? No? Am I on my own? Oh, am I? Can I use my voice for a second?
Yes.
Aaron Holiday to the Suns, who they traded him into their disabled player exception that they had for Dario Saric, who's been out this whole time with a torn ACL. And it's like a freebie pickup for a pretty good backup point guard when they have a pretty good backup point guard in Elfrid Payton.
Yeah.
I really don't have a voice anymore. All I sound like is everyone else.
Bol to Orlando. Will we ever see him play? I feel like his medical's also not great.
Bol, man, I'm telling you, man. If you are a 7'7" or 7'3" plus player in this league, I don't know. I really don't know. I looked at Bol, and I wanted him to be great, but his frame, his size, and his relative lack of kind of lateral ability made me say I don't know if it's ever going to work out for him. And I wanted it to, but
we are 15 minutes away from the TURD deadline.
Gosh. TURD deadline.
2022 TURD deadline. We have tons of trades here. Kristaps Porzingis has been traded to the Washington Wizards. John Wall is still in Houston as of now. Russell Westbrook has not been traded away from the Los Angeles Lakers. I don't see them getting a deal done with the Knicks. Maybe it happens in the next 15 minutes. I can't imagine the Knicks, after what they've seen from Russell Westbrook, are going to trade for him. What the package would be: Kemba Walker, maybe throw in Nerlens Noel in that deal. The idea is, or Evan Fournier. The idea is that the Los Angeles Lakers get a lot of depth there.
Oh, we got a guest.
And
we got a guest. Hold on.
I just kind of feel like the Knicks aren't going to be able to recover if they get Russell Westbrook. Russell Westbrook would be the most Knicks thing ever.
I could see it now, like Westbrook coming in, guarding, triple-double. They get a win. They eke out a 2-point victory over the Pacers. And like, the Knicks fans are pouring out to the streets celebrating. Russell becomes the most popular guy at Madison Square Garden for a night.
Bing bong.
It's always a 2-point win over the Pacers, by the way.
Yeah.
Put it on the poll. Is it always a 2-point win over the Pacers? Also, when is Fashion Week? Because that's important, too.
You're asking me.
I don't know.
I mean, look at this guy. It's in Jess Matana in the back, confirming it's in September. Stu.
If Jess wasn't here, I'm wondering how long it would take anyone in this room to scream that out.
Juju was my next hope. Juju would know.
Were you guys expecting all this, by the way? Were you like it's active? Like the Porzingis one is crazy, right?
Yeah, this one is the most surprising deal of the day for me. Yeah. The question: are you done with James Harden at this point? Like he forced his way out of Houston last year. The Brooklyn Nets gave up 18 first-round picks to facilitate that deal for James Harden to team up with Kyrie Irving and Kevin Durant. Then within 6 months of that happening, he wants out again.
It's a good question. I'm not done with James Harden. In fact, I think he probably took a more difficult path by wanting to go to the Philadelphia 76ers because now it's just him and Embiid. Like think about what he just did. James Harden asked to leave Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving. And we all think if those three just played together, were healthy during the postseason, that would have been a title for James Harden if those three played together and were healthy. So now he goes to Embiid. I'm not done with him yet. I'm not done with Ben Simmons either. I actually think it works out for both sides. But
I just kind of feel like James Harden for you, like you're like tired of his act.
But here's the thing.
I'm not there yet with James Harden.
Okay,
I'm still on Kevin Durant.
I wonder how much. Yeah, I'm about to say how much. Of that
and I'm on Kyrie too.
That's what I was gonna say. How much of that Stugat's kind of like reconciling how much he is disappointed by Harden versus how much he's disappointed in the other two guys.
Think about this though, guys, because if Kyrie simply, if he did the responsible thing, like I'm not going to sit here and discuss whether or not everyone should be vaccinated or not. Okay, like it's science. Okay, like even I can agree with science, right? if he got the shot, if he got a vaccine, right? I mean, maybe James Harden's not requesting a trade. Harden's probably sitting there looking at this thing going, I got one guy who's not here in Kevin Durant. He's hurt. And the other guy is a complete mess. He's insane. He only plays road games. He won't get a shot. So I'd rather just go play with Joel Embiid. Like, it seems, I told Dan that what Kyrie Irving and Durant are, they're exhausting. Those two are exhausting.
We got conflicting information here from the same source.
Okay, so wait, do you want to?
Wow, couple of.
There's two. There's a spring and a fall. Perhaps also a summer and a winter.
Oh,
Who's to say?
4 seasons. 4 seasons.
Jess, thank you for joining us on the TURD Deadline
Let
show.
me know when Monopoly Deal tournament time is.
I don't like Monopoly Deal.
It's better than Uno. It's the best card game out there. Monopoly
let's
Deal.
play
We'll play
Monopoly.
later. No, let's not. Let's not play for
play
6
Monopoly
hours
Deal.
and have
Monopoly.
everyone fall asleep at the table.
No, well, if you
We're
fall
not
asleep,
doing that.
Sounds like you're losing. That's why.
No. Like, it takes forever to play Monopoly. No one likes Monopoly.
You guys know when you play regular Monopoly, every time someone lands on a property, it goes to auction.
Yeah, like if you
Anyone.
don't want to buy it,
Right. It goes
it's
to
up.
auction.
It's up for grabs.
I never knew that till
Well,
recently.
because you've been playing with some scrubs.
I didn't.
The real players, the real deal people. We go at it.
Will you apologize to my late Grammy and Pap because I'm pretty sure they're the people who taught me the wrong the wrong instructions.
Were either of them the one who called your family members dirty sons of bitches on the way
Other
out?
side of the family.
Oh God, man.
Other side of the family.
Because I don't think anyone who called family members dirty sons of bitches on the way out would be bad at Monopoly. I feel like that person is fired.
They are Mr. Monopoly.
Oh yeah, with the mustache. Oh man.
Mr. Monopoly, by the way, I learned this on TikTok. He's one of those like Mandela effect things.
Are you guys saying he doesn't have a mustache?
When you picture Mr. Monopoly, does he have eyewear?
No. He's
Yes.
got that. No.
Yeah.
He's got the top hat and that's it, and the mustache.
You say yes?
Yeah.
Apparently, no eyewear, but some people swear he has a monocle.
You know who swears he has a monocle? People who suck at Monopoly. You don't have attention to detail. That's why you lose. That's why you gotta play Monopoly Deal. Oh, where did his monocle go? Is anyone gonna worry about his prescription? No.
Don't we have bullying, like HR? Like, is this bullying here? This is straight up bullying at this point. Can you please back off?
It's my word against hers.
Two fashion weeks. Thank you, Jess.
Super Bowl week.
We are 7 minutes away from the TURD deadline.
We are also 7 minutes and some change away from some guests, Tom.
We have guests on today's
Who are
show.
calling in, not even guests that are. You guys say, "Oh, real easy." You're just grabbing Dan and Jess and Stugatz as they roam.
And Juju. Don't forget about Juju.
And Mike as they roam through the hallways. We booked actual guests. Oh my God.
Here we go.
See, this is the problem. From David. This is why. David, you know, like, this is a Schedule 1 substance. You know that, right? Yeah. Like, at some point, like, we're gonna have to get the DEA in here. This is the problem about flying to Miami to do shows, right? They pump you with this stuff, and then I'm up all night. Tom, the other night we went to dinner.
That is warm.
What?
There's nothing left in my mouth.
Tom, what happened when we went to dinner the other
worse
night?
than the Reaper. Yeah, my mouth is gone. It's just singed completely.
Now who's not listening to whom? See how that goes?
Yeah. Ow.
It was hot? It's super hot?
It was super hot.
I got to wait for it to
My
cool
temperature
down.
hot. And shouts to Kate Fagan for doing the Starksy Bear.
Yeah, I don't know if you can see it because there's a little bit of a reflection, but trust us. We'll post a picture. Juju will post a picture.
Oh, man.
Giving
If
Juju
Russell
more
Westbrook
work.
doesn't get
Juju, more
traded.
work.
If he doesn't get traded, Russell Westbrook. Wow. Russell Westbrook, trivia question here for you, Amin. How many dunks has Russell Westbrook had in the year 2022?
Oh, I know he had at least one. Because there's that one. It's like, will this turn the Lakers season around? Remember that one?
Russell Westbrook has had one dunk.
That was the one.
That was it, the Rudy Gobert one.
Gobert dunk,
He
yeah.
dunked on Rudy Gobert, and everyone's like, Russell Westbrook is back.
All right, let me ask you a question here. This is from Bobby Marks on ESPN. Said, in 3 years, we're going to be talking about James Harden like we're talking about Russell Westbrook and John Wall from a contract standpoint. That contract will be the worst contract in NBA history.
To me, this is like the Chris Paul thing, where that was considered the worst contract in the NBA. I think it's a little bit too far to go with that, Bobby. Because I do have my concerns.
I got to cut you off. We have breaking news. Can we get the breaking news sounder? There it is.
My tongue is on fire.
Breaking news. Toronto is trading Chris Boucher, Malachi Flynn, the Houston, for Eric Gordon, Daniel Tice, and a second-round pick. This is an amazing deal for Masai Ujiri.
Yeah, the Toronto Raptors are ramping up. I mean, people thought they might have been throwing the towel this year, but they are good.
They've won 7 in a row. They've won 8 of their last 10. They are climbing up the East charts. They're getting into gear. I talked to my good buddy Paul Jones, who's the radio play-by-play man for the Toronto Raptors. He's the brother of Mark Jones that we all know and love from ESPN and the Sacramento Kings. And, Paul, I got to give credit to Paul. He was on this months ago. He said, they're better than what their record says. And as they start to get healthy, it's going to start turning around, and that's exactly what's happened.
Did not see point Siakam happening. Pascal Siakam becoming a point guard.
That was what was supposed to happen.
I mean,
that's what they paid him
He's
for.
been incredible this year as of late. So Toronto.
Not to mention, of course, the first-time All-Star Fred VanVleet, who's been incredible too.
Yes. So Toronto loading up. Daniel Tice is going to be their starting 5 here. Next to Pascal Siakam, another former Boston Celtics center that they're going to try to make work. Aaron Baines did not work for them, and
did you read
the story of the year? Brian Windhorst's story. Again, Brian Windhorst 2024. Aaron Baines' story reported by Brian Windhorst for ESPN.com. Incredible story. I had no idea about that.
Yeah,
go read it.
Go read it. Basically, Aaron Baines had like a weird
neurological break
happen to him in the middle of the Olympics, where he passed out in the bathroom in the middle of a game.
And he was quarantined, and he couldn't talk to anybody.
Yep.
His family, his representatives. It's a crazy story. Sabonis, we haven't talked about this yet. I mean, your thoughts on the Sabonis trade to Sacramento for Tyrese Halliburton and Buddy Hield?
Oh, wait a second. Wow, that Toronto deal is not real.
Wow.
I got fooled by the internet.
Wow, but still. Ballsack Sports?
Not Ballsack Sports, thankfully.
So what are you telling me that there was like a fake Shams
fake Chris Haynes?
A fake Chris Haynes.
It's funny because I have a listicle over here of like the approved accounts, and it didn't show up in the approved one, and I still fell for it.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I'm seeing it here too.
Yeah.
All right, in 2 minutes, the trade deadline. We got 60 seconds left in the TURD deadline. Renee Montgomery is going to join us here in a few minutes to break down the trade deadline, get her perspective.
Renee Montgomery?
Shouts to Moco, Montgomery and County. Yeah. Right here, we got a great guest. Also, Zach Harper is going to join us if he ever forgives me for putting that Jerry Sloan take on him and yourself.
No, you
yesterday.
got to put it on me. You didn't put it on him, and I haven't forgiven you. But also, Zach is writing reactions to deals, so it might take us a second to get him in here because, as you can see, there's a lot of deals being done here. Oh, see, Chad Ford fell for it too. I'm not the only one.
Yeah, so Nate Duncan, shouts to Nate Duncan, NBA, saying very interested to see if there's more to Kristaps Porzingis' bone bruise in his knee than is publicly known right now. That could help explain the Wizards and Mavs trade, like you said.
Yep.
Porzingis on that knee going forward, the Wizards are taking a chance that is going to keep Bradley Beal happy there in Washington, D.C. Renee Montgomery will be joining us. The trade deadline is coming to a close here. I am still surprised that Russell Westbrook hasn't been announced yet. Where's he gonna go?
Russ for Wall?
Yeah.
Maybe the Rockets played hardball. My guy down there.
Alperen Şengün, the best player, the best rookie in the NBA. You're talking about? Şengün?
Yeah.
Who's leading all players in all rookies in free throw attempts? I mean, obviously, because Şengün's amazing. Mm-hmm. He's the number 1 pick. Better than Cade Cunningham, by the way.
No, I think Rafael Stone has done a good job, by the way.
Yeah.
I mean, considering the situation he inherited.
Still hot?
No, it's a nice kind of like warm enough that you feel like you're drinking it, but not like cold where you're like, this is gross.
Woj is now reporting Houston is trading Daniel Tice to the Celtics.
Oh, I got Kelly Eco reporting it. Kelly Eco from The Athletic. He covers the Rockets for The Athletic. He's got Tice going back to Boston. He's shipping up to Boston, Tom.
That's right. Keep going. No, keep going, please.
I don't know the rest of it.
Please keep going.
I know.
All right, we're going to get Renee Montgomery here in a second. The trade deadline is done. These deals, I mean, in a trade deadline, what happens here? You make a trade call. Let's say it's 2:59 and 37 seconds left. What needs to happen for the NBA to allow you to make a last-minute trade?
All the parties that are involved, as soon as they've agreed, they have to call into the league. They've got to be in queue. So it's not like you have to get your whole deal done and reported within the 3 p.m. deadline.
So Schroeder going to the Houston Rockets for Tice.
Yeah.
That's the deal.
It's not necessarily it's got to be done, but you have to be in line, right? It's almost like think of the trade deadline as being a restaurant, like a fast food restaurant. And say, hey, we close at 3 p.m. Or the post office, for instance. You know, the post office closes at like 5 or whatever. As long as you're in the post office, though, they close the door behind you. Now you're in line, and so you might not get served until like 5:20 or 5:25. But as long as you're in there, in line, in the queue, same thing. The parties agree. So let's say you're the Anaheim Amigos. I'm the San Diego Conquistadors. We've got a deal. Okay, we agree. We both call into this line. We are now in queue. The league knows we're in queue. And then when we get on the call, we say, you know, the league reads out the particulars of the deal. They go over the contract, right? Like, hey, by the way, this guy has a bonus for this or that or the other or whatever. Agree. Boom. Trade is certified. So we might actually still get breaking news here past 3 p.m., Tom, because teams were in the queue but still hadn't leaked the news yet.
All right, so Brad Stevens, this is kind of the thing when the coaches become the GMs, right?
Yep.
Is he really likes Daniel Tice, wants him back on the team, and reacquires.
Baby, come back. So Brad Stevens, by the way, as the general manager of the Celtics, he's gotten Al Horford back. He's gotten Daniel Tice back. Could Kyrie be next?
Stay tuned on the TURD deadline here. Keep it right here on YouTube channel for the LeBatard and Friends. Why am I telling people who are watching to keep watching if they're already on the link?
I thought
do not turn that dial.
Are we going to a commercial break? I'm like, what are we doing here?
No.
What's happening? Okay, so we are gonna be joined. I hear. Wait, I gotta do this, Tom. Look at this.
Yep.
Look at this.
Oh.
I have news here.
Juju, you might want to sit down for this one, Juju.
Yeah. Renee Montgomery, part owner of the Atlanta Dream, broadcaster covering the Atlanta Hawks, and Metal Arts Media podcaster, Montgomery and Company. Catch it wherever you get podcasts. She's going to be joining us. Now, Renee, can you hear us?
I can hear you. Oh. What are you guys doing?
We're doing a TURD deadline.
The wind is crazy.
Oh, wow. So I know y'all saw what just dropped then.
What just dropped on the TURD deadline? What just dropped?
I don't know. I was just on TMZ, and they said that there was a trade that happened. Steve Nash tried to tell us that James Harden is not getting traded before the trade deadline. And I don't know. It must be a rumor because I haven't checked the internet yet. I just went from one thing to the next. But I'm hearing that he got traded before the deadline. So I don't know what Doc Rivers is going to do on Thanksgiving because I heard that Seth was in the trade. I don't know. There's a lot going on there.
How does Doc survive? He traded both his son and now he's traded his son-in-law. I think we learned something. If you're related to Doc Rivers and you play for him,
pack your bags.
Yeah, don't rent. Don't buy.
Good luck. What up, Juju?
What it do, my sister? I see you.
I saw you got a mic and everything. Yes.
Know, man. We down here in Miami, the MIA. Salute. Hawks, I see you. We going to the Super Bowl and the championship. Let's get it.
Okay. That part.
Renee, seriously though, what do you think about that trade? Who wins that trade? The Brooklyn Nets or the Philadelphia 76ers?
Well, is Ben Simmons playing?
We don't know the answer to that.
So I don't know the answer to your question. It's like, okay, if Ben Simmons plays, it could be very interesting because we know that while everything happened in our series with the Atlanta Hawks and there was a lot of things exposed, He's still a good player. It's like when players' weaknesses get exposed, people probably try to act like they're not a good player anymore. Ben Simmons is a good player. He's just not Steph Curry when it comes to shooting. We get that. But he can still play defense. He can still distribute. He can still do other things. So if he plays, that's big lit. You still got Kevin Durant there, Kyrie on the road. Could get interesting. So I don't know, because James Harden, there's a lot going. Like, we know Joel Embiid is going to voice his opinions. We know that's Joel Embiid's team. So James Harden is going there. I got to see how it works. I don't know.
Renee,
is that okay to say I don't know as an analyst? Because I think a lot of times analysts have a really hard time saying I don't know because we're supposed to know. I really don't know how this is going to work out, Doc.
You got to lie, Renee. You got to say something definitive and be like, I guarantee. Because here's the thing. Nobody remembers. You could say,
That's the thing. I remember if I said it. That's the problem. I have a problem going on the record just saying definitive things that I have no idea about, but I need to just get in where I fit in.
I learned from Stu Gatz. If you feel it right here, right when the microphone's in your hand, you say it. And then later on, if you feel something different, you say that too and never acknowledge you said the first thing.
Renee, have you ever had a teammate that you were just like, you don't have to say names here, but you're like, I want out of this. I can't play with this teammate anymore. Trade me. I'm out of here.
Oh, me? Like, I want to get traded because of somebody else?
Like, James Harden has basically done this twice, where he wants out of two places in the past, year and a half. Houston first, then he gets to Brooklyn to play with Kyrie Irving and Kevin Durant, and then he wants out.
Yeah, that's, why does he want to leave Brooklyn? Did that ever come out?
Well, but we're probably going to find out eventually. Because I
don't understand. Like, I get, Houston was a team that was not competing for anything but just to get to the end of the season.
Yep.
So he wanted out of that situation. It's like, I get it. Superstars want to play for a championship. Why is he leaving Brooklyn? I don't know. Like, what happened? What does the group chat look like? Did he leave it? Because we found out right away when Kyrie Irving left his group chat. So what's going on over there? I think that's what matters. But I've never had that situation happen at all where I wanted to leave a whole team because of whatever was going on with that team.
Like any locker room issues where you're like, I can't do this anymore. I want out.
We've had locker room issues. I've been on teams that's had plenty of locker room issues. I've been on teams that players have gotten in a fight before. I've never gotten in a fight with a teammate, but I've been on teams that could have been considered very dysfunctional. And no, I don't know. It's just my thought process was never to leave, but I would have never transferred from UConn too. So I know that just the transfer portal is full in college. The trade game is strong in the pros, but that was never really an option. My parents would have been like, girl, get it together, suck it up.
So, Renee, let me ask you, a week ago or whenever, before all this latest Harden stuff started warming up, what was your gut as what was going to happen to Simmons? Did you think that he was just going to stay the whole year? Did you think there was another place he would go? Or did you always kind of feel like, man, Brooklyn's the place where it's going to be?
I thought Ben Simmons would have been traded a long time ago. Yeah. Like, I honestly did not think that it would have taken this long for him to get traded. And then, do we even know if he's still going to play at this point? Like,
That's a big question.
I don't know what's going on.
See, what's worse, if they got him and he still isn't playing, or if they get him and he plays immediately? Because I feel like either way.
Yeah, because Philly gonna be like, I thought there was issues going. Because doesn't he? Okay, I don't know all the details. That's why don't give me the line. But wasn't it mental health issues to why he kind of removed himself from the team?
Yes.
So if that's the case, is it the city of Philadelphia that was making him ill, and now he's gonna feel better in Brooklyn, or is he still going through something? That's what I mean. But I don't really know what's going on with Ben Simmons to know what kind of trade value they got.
Renee, we have some breaking news here.
Uh-oh.
Yes. Breaking news. The Lakers are standing pat at the trade deadline. Russell Westbrook, turns out his back might be okay. I mean, his back tightness.
It's not tight anymore.
The back tightness that Russell Westbrook sat out last night's game. The loss to the Portland Trailblazers. CJ Ellaby.
Did you hear Stephen A, by the way, on this? CJ Ellaby. Are you kidding me? Your starting lineup, Dennis Smith Jr., who's played for 3 or 4 teams. And last I checked, Perk, Anthony Davis and LeBron James play. I mean, I'm just disgusted by this lack of effort.
No Russell Westbrook trade. Are you surprised by that, Renee? Russell Westbrook is still going to be a Laker, and they just got to go.
I'm not surprised. It's like the internet tried to trade Russell Westbrook by themselves. It was like I didn't hear anything about anyone else trading Russell Westbrook except for the internet and Laker Nation mad about what was going on. But I'm not surprised. First of all, he has a big contract. Those are not as easy to move. And then he's not playing the best in the world. I'm not surprised. Plus, he's an LA dude. Does it matter that he was so excited to play for the Lakers? Does that matter to anybody?
Well, let me. Well, you're from West Virginia, so I don't know.
I don't want to hear it. I don't know what you.
I was just gonna say, like, if you had an opportunity to play for your hometown team that your whole life you hadn't played for, right? Like, I'm trying to think what the.
Well, that's me with Atlanta. So I bought a house in Atlanta 3 years into the league,
right?
And so when I came back to play for the Atlanta Dream, it was playing at home because I had already been living there for 10 years before. Yeah, like
Got you. So for you, what was that feeling like that you knew that there was an interest and it was going to fit in perfectly with your personal life?
It was turned up. Like, I was so excited. First of all, you get to live at home during the home games. That there's something to be said about that. And so I was hyped. I think that for him too, he talked about how excited he was. That's why I feel bad about all of this Westbrook stuff, because if people understand, this is a home guy playing for his home team, and it's just like, imagine your worst nightmare coming to life, that you finally get traded to your home team and it goes like this, to play with LeBron and AD. It sounds like a dream, and then this happens.
And everyone's blaming you.
For
that everything's going on.
You're getting booed in the Staples Center. I'm sorry.
This is the same guy. Didn't he drop 50 points for Nipsey Hussle when he was playing for another? This is the same guy that puts on for the city.
Yep. Like, I'm sure my boy can cry his way all the way to the bank, though. If we just
you know what?
Yeah, I mean, he'll be over it.
He'll be all right, but I mean, this is like a hometown guy, and it's so crazy that things turn so quickly. But that's when you play for the Lakers or the Knicks, we know everything is going to be turned up with around it. But I just be thinking, like, everything sounded amazing. AD, LeBron, Westbrook, Carmelo Anthony, and then things just turn left.
I just feel like, Renee, it's all like a fairy tale. When LeBron James goes back to Cleveland and wins a title for Cleveland, and people are suddenly all of a sudden thinking, like, homecomings work, right? The homecoming works, but it's all a fairy tale. Like I remember Dwayne Wade going back to Chicago, and it was like, oh, he's coming home. That lasted, like 20 minutes. And then you have Russell Westbrook, who comes back home to L.A. That doesn't work out. Dwight Howard in Atlanta, that lasted, 27 minutes. And Joakim Noah in New York, maybe 35 minutes, and it was a disaster. So I kind of feel like LeBron James ruined homecomings for everybody in the league, thinking they could do that.
Right. I see what you're saying. But yeah, no, I didn't even think about it like that. But so maybe it's not. Maybe there's something to when you play at home and all your family, friends, and everybody are there. Maybe there's something too that you're not locked in as you would be. I don't really know, but I never really put it in order like you did. You're onto something, Tommy boy.
That's right. Now, Portland Trailblazers, they trade CJ McCollum. They did not get Jeremy Grant. Jeremy Grant did not get moved. We were going to cross that off the thing.
Where's the red marker?
George Hill, as far as I can tell, did not get traded at this deadline.
No.
That's shocking.
What's going on with this board? So what are you what's going on here?
That's shit that's happened. That's shit that might happen, but ended up not happening. Most of it. There's still some stuff I think we can leave up there. I think we can leave Goran to Miami still up there. Brian Windhurst, president, 2024, that can definitely stay up there.
Yep.
But all these other things did not end up happening. Well, Kyrie vaccinated.
Did y'all get anything right?
Yeah, we got Simmons going to Brooklyn. We got Sabonis to Sacramento. We got Norman Powell to the Clippers. I know these happened a couple of days ago, but yeah. We got, let's see what else.
My guy Ish Smith got traded. I'm very upset about this. Ish going back to Washington. Yeah. Another homecoming that did not work out. Ish Smith from Charlotte. Yeah, that lasted a half a season.
It doesn't work. I'm telling you. Renee had a good experience, but you know why? Because Renee not really from Atlanta. It's our adopted hometown. But that's why you had like an immunity to that curse, right? And LeBron, you know what his immunity is? He's not really from Cleveland. He's from Akron. Big difference. It's like 50 minutes down the road. So I think we've discovered what the exact formula is. If you want to come back home and have a good homecoming, you have to actually not really be from there originally.
So, like, if Charleston just got a team, Charleston, West Virginia got a team.
Ooh.
Renee can't go.
She can't. I'm not letting her go.
The Charleston Mountaineers, baby, let's go.
I'm not letting her go. Can't do that to her. Yeah, like it's just. I think what's happening in Portland, the most underrated storyline in the NBA is just they're gutting that franchise, and I wonder if when the NBA expands or adds a team, that Jody Allen, Paul Allen's sister, sells that team, saying, "Hey, all you got is Damian Lillard on the books, and then just a whole lot of free money going forward." Maybe they
what do
bring
y'all
it back
think about
to
that?
Maybe
what do y'all think about like Dame is the last man standing?
Man, that's a tough one because, of course he wants a team to be made competitive, but that's not an overnight process. But also, I kind of feel like the deals they did weren't necessarily the best possible deals that they could get done, right? So they traded Norm Powell for Eric Bledsoe's contract that's very lightly guaranteed next year. And what's the young shooting guard's name? The athletic wing, Tom?
Anthony Simons?
No, from the Clippers. That they got from the Clippers going to Portland.
Oh, Keon Johnson?
Yeah, there you go. Keon Johnson, Eric Bledsoe, and who's the third? Oh, Justice Winslow. I mean, that's just not enough for Norman Powell, who I felt like is a productive player in this league, who's not making crazy money. Like, he's making $15 million. That's not that crazy. I thought the C.J. McCollum deal a little better because Josh Hart's good, and you get a pick out of that's not protected at all.
Right.
But if you're Damian Lillard, Renee, they didn't get you help.
Did they answer the question that, there was concerns about being competitive in Damian Lillard, and so did this all help or did it hurt?
I don't feel like it's competitive at all. I feel like it's a nice reset, but Damian Lillard's got to stick around because he's under contract and because he put himself out there saying, I don't want to go anywhere. I want to do it here, which is why Tom thinks, man, maybe they're going to sell the team because that's a nice – you someone coming in to buy a team, you say, wait a second, we have a bona fide superstar under contract for 4 more years, and then all of this cap flexibility and these picks and a couple of young guys, I kind of want that.
Renee, before we let you go here, Atlanta Hawks right now are in the 10th slot. They're 26 and 28. Washington just got Kristaps Porzingis, and my question to you is, should Atlanta be considered the favorites to come out of the East right now?
Ooh, the favorites? I wouldn't say that word favorites is very interesting.
Just say yes. Just say yes. Atlanta going to be the favorites coming out of the East.
I wouldn't say the favorites, but I would say that everybody saw what ATL did during that playoff run last year, so we might not be the favorites going into it, but I do think it could get real interesting while we're in there. I do think that.
Speaking of real interesting,
y'all need to move the camera. We can barely see Juju. What is this? Juju, scoot over. Guys can sit closer together than that. Scoot over.
We in the streets. We outside. But speaking of very interesting, what is going on Montgomery and Company podcast for the inquiring minds? It slipped my mind. I think I heard Drew Bledsoe or somebody. I don't know.
Come on with the alley. Oh, this is my guy. Yes. It's Super Bowl week, so we had a lot of Super Bowl teams on there. Drew Bledsoe, Super Bowl champ, but Montgomery and Company, for people that don't know, you should know. So it's a family podcast in the sense that we do big business, but with the family. So Drew Bledsoe has a whole winery that he's doing now. Once you start, you see all these athletes now. A lot of athletes get into wine. If you guys haven't noticed, so Drew Bledsoe has a family winery called the Bledsoe Family Winery. And so, run us them double bag bottles of wine. We got wine drinkers over here. Super Bowl predictions were made. The Rams might win, but don't bet on it. Darius Butler let us know that. So, we're getting educated over here and doing business along the way with our Meadowlark family.
Yo, speaking of Meadowlark family, I went to dinner last night, me, Juju, Tom, and Kate, and we wanted to order a bottle of wine for the table, and the whole table was like, we don't really know wine like that. So we just kind of...
Loans, dry snitching. Jesus
Christ.
That's what I'm supposed to be doing.
I want her to educate us.
Okay, so educate us after he just did that to me.
Well, I actually watched a show about sommeliers, which are people that actually curate the wine, and it was a black dude that was a sommelier, which is a little bit different, and They said all kinds of things about the wine, the taste, the color, it all matters where the grapes were. I don't know, but I just go by the label. So y'all should have told them, let me see all the labels. Whichever one is the most lit, that's how people just get it. I mean,
that's a dangerous game.
That's money talking right there.
That's a dangerous game, Renee. Come on.
What?
We on it.
That's that WNBA owner money talking right there.
That's owner money talking right
here.
Owner money talking. Just look at the label and tell me what label is pretty, and I'll order it.
Listen, did y'all split the bill?
Hell yeah, we split the bills.
Okay.
You think we out here? You think money bags out here?
Right.
I mean, I'm just saying, if y'all splitting a $200 bottle, it's $50. I heard it was 4 people there. I
was Renee.
Big money at WNBA. Listen,
Renee.
Speaking of big money,
well, I thought y'all was outside. You know what?
Speaking of big money, what's going on
Have
with
a
the
good
dream?
TURD deadline show. I'm out of here. Look out for ATL in the playoffs. I don't think we made no trades because we are all right how we are. Okay.
Amen.
Thank you, Renee. Thank you for joining us on the TURD Deadline show.
Peace, fam. I'll see you in a second, Jew.
Yes, ma'am.
Renee driving me to alcoholism. $100 a bottle.
$200 a bottle. She's trying to say split it four ways.
Out the shot. Sorry.
Yeah, unbelievable. Yeah, we're 20 minutes after, so the Knicks didn't make a deal.
Nope.
The Lakers didn't make a deal.
Nope.
And the latest breaking news is that NS Freedom has been given his freedom from playing in the NBA, and he has been waived. Breaking news.
He's free to do as many Fox and Friends hits as he wants to do.
You hate to see it.
Him and Tucker Carlson, new podcast coming out.
Get him out of here.
Yeah, NS Freedom. I don't know. There was reports. Or StatMuse. We're doing stats on breaking news now. Trades broken today from StatMuse. Shams with 11 and Woj with 8. We have a new king anointed by StatMuse. From Shams Charania now is the king of breaking news. This is insane. We have today Ben Simmons is now a net. James Harden is on the Philadelphia 76ers. We've got Ish Smith no longer on the homecoming team, the hometown team, the Charlotte Hornets. I don't know what to make sense of this NBA anymore, man.
Bobby Marks had a really good tweet here. You know who the biggest winner today was?
What's that?
The Oklahoma City Thunder players. They're $23 million below the minimum salary floor. If you don't know how the minimum salary floor works, the penalty for not reaching it is that you take whatever that amount is and you divide it amongst the current players. So if you're an Oklahoma City Thunder player, one of these 15 guys, they've got to take $23 million and divide it amongst them. Big time.
Yeah.
The only way that doesn't happen, Tom, you know how it could not happen? If a player is waived who's making $23 million or less, and then the Thunder claim him off waivers. They don't let him clear waivers.
Oh, no.
Yeah. So if
Eric Gordon gets waived here,
then you claim
or Porzingis gets waived here, or something like that.
Anyone making $23 million or less. Can you understand how stressful that'll be as a player? Like, you make a minimum, you play for the Thunder, people don't even know who you are. You have to tell people to Google. As we have to tell people to Google our next guest who's on the line.
Zach Harper. Oh. Hey, are you okay with me being on the show today, considering what I did to you yesterday?
Yeah, I got out from under the bus. I'm fine.
You weren't under the bus. I was the one who was trampled.
No, I said
no. You got ambushed.
He got ambushed, but Zach wasn't even involved on the show yesterday, and I threw him under the bus.
I mean, this is all just hearsay.
You're no confirming or denying that was said between you and
I still haven't said anything.
Okay.
I still don't know what you're talking about.
I was asked about it yesterday. I sat down. They asked me the question. I looked around. I stood up. I walked out. Integrity.
Zach Harper joining us from SiriusXM NBA Radio and The Athletic and Count the Dings. There's a show
podcast.
A podcast. What
it's called Cinephobe.
That's it.
Cinephobe.
Oh wait, what's Cinephobe mean?
Oh, I'm glad you asked, Zach. Cinephobe is the podcast where Zach and I watch movies that are poorly rated on Rotten Tomatoes and try to ascertain whether they're accurately poorly rated or maybe.
Happy Black History Month.
No, you're supposed to get a
fair shake.
I'm getting through all that.
Everybody
it's Black
been
History
killing my
Month, and
reads.
they still ain't invited me on Centerfold yet. Salute to Anthony Mays. I hope wherever you are having a terrible day. Back to you, Zach.
You've been on like 3 times.
Yeah, Zach, have you given out any A's today? You're giving out grades.
Grade
Have you given out any A's? Or you're a tough grader.
That's a good question. That's asking me to remember what I did. Yes, I liked the deal for both the Nets and the Sixers. I actually think that's a win-win.
I feel like that's hard.
Did you give them an A though?
I gave an A-.
A- to both?
To both, yeah.
Okay, what stopped the A- from being an A for both?
James Harden might still be fat.
Okay, and for Brooklyn?
Ben Simmons might still not want to play basketball.
Oh, yeah.
Those are two very important things when giving out the grades. Yeah, it's in today's hot take culture, I kind of feel like you want to say one team won the trade or lost the trade and that there has to be a winner and has to be a loser. Do you think the big loser of this trade is just the idea that there should be a winner and a loser?
You know what? Yeah, because it's like Rosie Perez said, right? And white men can't jump. Sometimes when you win, you actually lose. Sometimes when you lose, you actually win. Sometimes when you win or lose, you actually tie. And sometimes when you tie, you actually win or lose. I think that sums up this trade perfectly.
Now, other deals that we have on the board here behind us, Zach, and under the shit that's happened column, we got Sabonis to Sacramento. Now, I showed you this picture today. You didn't know that the fans in Sacramento had a sign up that said, "Welcome to Hell, Domas."
That is an accurate sign. I mean, it hasn't been great. We talked to Bonzi Wells on SiriusXM NBA Radio yesterday. Did you know that Bonzi Wells, his 1 year in Sacramento, was the last time the Kings made the playoffs?
Bonzi Wells, who's now the head coach of Lemoyne College. So that's been a long, long time.
We have to ask you, as a doctor yourself, an MD, an orthopedist, Russell Westbrook's back tightness, do you think it's going to be okay next game?
I bet he's going to be fine, until the fourth quarter. Because that's when it comes down to winning time, and they bench Russell Westbrook, and then they still lose the game, but at least they can't blame it on him at that point, right?
Blame it on the back tightness. Zach, Porzingis to the Wizards for Spencer Dinwiddie. Give us a grade for both Washington and Dallas.
I don't get it.
I don't either.
I really don't understand what happened there. Like Dinwiddie has not. I think he's better than what he's been in Washington, but he hasn't been good this year, right? And I don't know. Like, would you rather play him than what Jalen Brunson's doing this season?
No, give me Brunson every time.
Yeah, Brunson's been better. Like, I get it. Brunson might be expensive this summer because he's a free agent. But I'd much rather have Brunson right now. And then Bertons sucks. Like, he's been awful. He can't even shoot. His one job is to shoot, and he has been horrendous. I don't think you can trust him to be on the court. I don't think you can trust him to make shots right now. He can't do anything else, and you have him for at least $38 million guaranteed after this season.
Bertons makes what's my man down here, Duncan Robinson, look like a hell of a steal, right? At this point, because. Like, as bad as Duncan Robinson or as up and down Duncan Robinson has been this season, Bertons is consistently awful. He's just forgotten how to shoot. But Zach, speaking about the Dinwiddie part, I mean, he's kind of like a backup plan if Brunson leaves. Does that make him the Brunson burner?
Is that couch still uncomfortable?
No, this is the good couch. This is the good couch right here.
Well, I'm glad Juju can at least
All right,
be
Zach,
on that couch and be comfortable.
Please give the grades out. Amin El-Hassan's Barack Obama impression.
It's a solid B+.
What?
I think it's good. Yeah.
Dude, you accuse every impression I do of turning into Obama. Why would it be B+? Wouldn't that make it a surefire A?
No. It just means the rest of them are the same as your Obama. It's good though.
B+.
I like the quiet Stephen A. Smith.
Okay.
Because it does become DMX as soon as you raise your voice.
You mean to tell me that this sounds like DMX? Zach Hop, I'm appalled.
You just sound like Nina Kimes doing DMX right now. Like that sounds like her impression of DMX. That's what it sounds like.
That's what her impression of DMX sounds like.
Is that an impression inception?
Yes, it is. Impression. Thank you, Chris Cody.
There it is.
Juju Cody over here.
NS Freedom has been waived by the Houston Rockets after a trade from the Boston Celtics. Zach, what is he going to do in his next act?
Well, he's not going to go to the Lakers, right? And I'm not surprised that the Rockets didn't want anything to do with him. That feels like something that'd be a tough sell. I don't think Brooklyn's going to get him. He's running out of teams here. Somebody will sign him. Like maybe, I don't know.
Might not be a basketball team.
Might not be a basketball team, but he'll go somewhere. He's on the internet. You know, we always figure it out on the internet.
Let me. I want to circle back to this Simmons deal.
Okay.
Because earlier we had a quote from Bobby Marks saying that this next contract that Harden's going to get, we're going to talk about it the same way we talk about Russell Westbrook's deal right now.
Okay.
And now ESPN posted a quote from Stephen A. Smith. Quote, this could potentially go down as the worst day in the career of Daryl Morey.
Wow.
Doesn't it feel like none of this like negative opinion about Harden to the Sixers came up until after the deal was done?
It definitely feels that way. The only one I'd really know that was like saying this was definitely a bad idea was Mo Dakhil. Mo Dakhil was like, I don't know if I like this fit. These are the reasons it wouldn't work. But other than that, it's been just nothing but like praising, like, oh, you got to get him, you got to get him. And now that it's done, I do wonder if this is like an anti-Morey backlash, which I'm fine with. Like that doesn't bother me. I just wonder what it would sound like if we heard Stephen A. Smith talk about this being the worst day.
Yeah, you're gonna have to keep wondering.
Okay, what if Obama said?
He'd say that B+ isn't a good enough grade for you to get him to just get up.
What about
off
Alvin
the couch.
Gentry, who sounds a lot like your Obama?
Hey, I'll tell you right now. Hey, okay? Hey, James is a hell of a player. Hey, I'll tell you right now. You Embiid, James Harden. Yeah, that's a hell of a combo.
That's not Gentry when you raise your voice.
What?
That's not Gentry when you raise your voice.
What is it?
Something different. B-.
I'm cool to your evaluation, Zach Harper.
That's what it sounds like.
Yeah.
Jeremy Grant not traded from Detroit. Damian Lillard still in Portland. Bradley Beal still in Washington. Of all the teams that didn't really make any moves today at the trade deadline, which one is the most surprising for you that they didn't make a big deal at the TURD deadline today?
The TURD deadline, probably the Knicks, just because there seems to be enough turmoil there that I could have seen them doing a panic move of some sort. Like Tom Thibodeau doesn't seem to be in line with what the front office wants right now, and the front office is definitely making some moves that he doesn't agree with. And so I kind of expected one of those sides to win here. Maybe it's just a sign that James Dolan isn't meddling anymore. Maybe just a sign that he doesn't care. I don't know. But whatever it is, I expected them to do at least something at the deadline, and them not doing anything was a shock.
Do the Lakers make the playoffs this year? Right now they're 9th. They are 4 games under 500, and the New Orleans Pelicans with C.J. McCollum are nipping at their heels in the 10th spot.
I don't think they can beat the Wolves in a play-in tournament game. Like, I really don't think
that is a statement.
They just lost to Anthony Simons and some dude named Blevins.
I got a pizza for Blevins.
Shouts to the dude with an acronym for a name is CJ Ellaby.
Oh, yeah.
CJ Ellaby is just... What? I thought that was pretty good, Mike. CJ Ellaby. He had the most minutes last night for the Blazers.
It was CJ hella bad.
What?
Thank you.
Mike's tired. Mike's just tired right now.
I'm just absolutely lashing out.
You are lashing out.
That's all.
Please calm down.
Oh, man.
I love you all.
Zach, who improved themselves the most today?
I love what the Celtics did, actually.
Really?
I think the Derek White pickup is incredible. That's so good. Like, he's so good defensively. Now you can have him and Marcus Smart out there together. You can have them staggered. He's a good playmaker. Like, he needs to shoot a little bit better. But they went from Dennis Schroeder, Ennis Freedom, Josh Richardson to Derek White and Daniel Tice. That's a massive upgrade for a team that had no depth.
So let me ask you this: Is Brad Stevens going through his Doc Rivers phase, where it's like the only deals I do is to reacquire people that played for me in the past?
Going through it. Where do you think he learned it from? The first move he made was getting Al Horford in 2021. That's the first move he made. And knowing he makes like $27 million a year.
Is he the new Doc Rivers?
I kind of feel like it.
Oh, hold on. What we're not going to do is take Doc Rivers off this pedestal, okay?
Hey, Doc's cold-blooded. Doc's traded away 2 family members now.
Yeah. I can't remember who said it, but someone said that they had to cancel practice today so he could say goodbye to his grandkids.
A day after making the whole grandkids joke, by the way. That's so crazy. Also, by the way, the NBA media laughter at that line was, as always, above and beyond the actual kind of...
Tom, do you get sucked into that? The feeling the need to laugh at these press conferences?
Tom, you look like
I'm a big laugher. I laugh a lot. I laugh loudly and frequently. So yes, I'd probably be caught in that mix. Yeah.
Are you upset with yourself? Like, is there a bit of shame when you do it?
No.
Well, the one time that Eric Spoelstra or Bobby Ramos one up me in the middle of the finals.
Remember Bobby Ramos?
Brought the finals press conference.
Is that when you had the drink in your hand?
No, that was when I asked David Stern a question in the 2011 NBA Finals in OKC. I had an adult beverage in my hand as I asked David Stern a question. No, Bobby Ramos. When I got Bobby Ramos, I was trying to do a follow-up with Eric Spoelstra and this dude who I've never heard of before, who just only shows up at the finals.
Only at the finals and in the most colorful suits ever.
Yeah. And he just cut me off, and I could not follow up. So, yeah. And I laughed at that. I think there's video of me laughing at that because Eric was like, no, I want to hear from Tom.
That's your guy, Bobby Ramos?
That's Bobby Ramos. Look at that suit.
Hold on, I'm going to walk it up to
the walk it up to the camera. It up to the Bobby camera. Ramos. I wonder what he's doing right now. What is Bobby Ramos doing?
Where is Amin going?
Is that
even
two
cameras in front of you guys.
So I think the Sixers are going to be unwatchable now, Zach, because they're just going to be trying to get foul calls.
That's Bobby, man. Oh, man.
Yeah. That they're just going to be hunting for foul calls and whistles nonstop. Joel Embiid and James Harden, 2 of the best foul drawers in the NBA, and I go, they're going to be unwatchable this year. Like if you're a 76ers fan, it's just going to be brutal because it's going to be James Harden isoing and dribbling around for like an hour and making a three-pointer or missing or trying to get fouled, and then you have Joel Embiid who's also doing the same thing but just from a lot closer to the basket. I've long felt that James Harden is just a miniature Joel Embiid, or vice versa, that Joel Embiid is just a larger James Harden.
But even with the emphasis changes, I know they've peeled back a little bit as the season's gone on, but I don't think James Harden's doing that nearly as much. I do think he adapted a little bit, and I just think JoJo's fun to watch.
Yeah, but then together it's just going to be hot potato back and forth and living at the free throw line. And Amin had the take that he likes free throws.
I do.
Who is he? The only person on the planet that likes free throws?
I know why. This is a man who constantly wants to check his phone and check Instagram. Constantly. I know because I do podcasts and radio with him often.
Don't know what you're talking about.
Throughout, like if we had a fine system on
his iPad, he does not know what you're talking about. If we had a
fine system on SiriusXM, he would owe so much money because I will constantly hear an Instagram video just start playing as I'm talking.
Never.
Yes.
Never. You're making that up. A lot of times, see, the microphones that we use at SiriusXM, the headsets on our Comex devices, are very, very sensitive. I'm talking about, like, you can hear things happening in the house. It gets picked up. And so from time to time, I think my neighbors will have things happening. You know, they'll have, like, the radio on as they're cleaning or doing something. And Zach believes that it's me on
Is that
Instagram.
when you're in the bathroom or when you're in the studio?
What's that?
Is that when you're in the bathroom or the studio? Does it matter which part of the house you're in?
I'm never in the bathroom. What are you talking about? I'm never in the bathroom.
Look at that face.
I've heard you in the bathroom.
Okay.
I've heard everything, including the flush.
During a break, not when we're live on air.
Well, how would I be in the bathroom while we're live on air?
Put a towel on your head and you know it.
A towel
for the echo.
Whoa, hold on. Supercharge that, Maze.
Zach, did the finals odds change today?
Does everyone else think it's Phoenix, right? Phoenix is the best team right now.
Yeah, as long as Draymond's not healthy, I will go with Phoenix. Yeah.
Yeah, like they're the team to come out of the West. So, I don't know. Like, do you trust Draymond to be healthy at this point? He's been out a while with this back issue.
Give us a power ranking. Your top 5 teams.
Well, I'm so glad you asked that. I mean, you can check out the power rankings on theathletic.com every Monday morning right there in your feed. Just got to subscribe to The Athletic, the best coverage of sports on the internet.
I would give that an A for a layup. That was a great job. I'm giving you an A for that power rankings layup.
Thank you.
That was a nice pass. I mean, I appreciate that. Number 1, I'm going Phoenix Suns. Number 2, I'm going Milwaukee Bucks. Number 3, I'd go Miami Heat. Number 4, Golden State Warriors. Number 5, Memphis Grizzlies.
You're just pandering with the Miami Heat. You're pandering. I
got him number 4 going into this week. What are you talking about? And wait till they pick up Goran Dragic.
Yeah, but you're thinking ahead. You're like, I'm going to be on TURD deadline on LeBatard. I'm going to put it in so that I can say plausible deniability. This was not just for the show.
Previous week, they were 3rd. Previous week, they were 3rd.
Now, Zach,
wow, a hater. You dropped them from 3 to 4.
I did, yeah.
Wow.
They dropped one. They dropped one I didn't like.
Wow.
Zach, the reports about Dragic, who got traded to the Spurs, he's going to get bought out by the Spurs. But the reports of the teams that are interested or hot to trot in signing him, by all parties, by ESPN, by Yahoo, by Mark
Hot
Stein,
to trot.
Everyone has said that Miami is not one of the teams that are listed as front runners to get him. What do you think about that bit of news?
Has he been working out in Dallas? Has he been working out in
Nope, not
Clippers
Dallas.
area?
Nope.
Has he been working out in Milwaukee? Where's he been working out?
Miami, Zach. He's been working out in Miami.
Okay. All right. We'll see. We'll see.
I think the biggest winner for me today is Brooklyn Nets. I think the Brooklyn Nets won the trade deadline. They get Seth Curry, maybe the best shooter outside of Steph Curry in the NBA, on ball and off ball catch and shoots. They also get Ben Simmons. They get younger. This season with the whole Kyrie Irving vaccination thing, like, okay, but next season you're going to have Ben Simmons, Kyrie Irving, and Kevin Durant on your team. So I kind of feel like, yes, James Harden, Daryl Morey gets James Harden, turns Ben Simmons into James Harden, something for nothing, it's essentially a player that hasn't played this year. But to me, Brooklyn Nets win the day. Do you agree with me?
I do think they are a winner today. I do wonder, though, are we convinced that Kyrie's playing full slates next year, even if he's healthy? Like, I don't know that that's going away. I don't know that he's going to relent on his stance. Like, I just wouldn't assume that Kyrie's going to be around full-time, part-time, whatever.
Andre Drummond, too. I think that's a piece that's going to prove wealth for those guys.
They needed big. They needed bigs. They didn't have bigs. They're playing LaMarcus Aldridge, 100 years old.
Right.
And Blake Griffin, who's like 112.
His knees is 100 years old.
So, I mean, Andre Drummond, say what you will, but at least he's like a live body.
Yeah, right. LaMarcus Aldridge has been injured this season, hasn't been a full-time player, and they already traded Nick Claxton, so behind them, they got rid of Paul Millsap, so that's pretty thin up in the front court.
What was the most head-scratching deal that you guys saw?
Dallas trading away Kristaps Porzingis is that blew my mind today. Blew my mind the fact that they've already bailed after a half season under Jason Kidd that Kristaps Porzingis was traded. They've been playing so well recently, and here we have you still have eyeliner.
I know.
On.
I haven't been able to get it all off.
Unnerving looking at you.
But I'm
with
laughing
eyeliner.
at you guys and the stamina that it takes. 2 commercial-free hours. That the end of his petering out analysis is Andre Drummond. Say what you will, he's a live body.
Yes.
He's a live body was the analysis that Amin gave us as our front office insider, which I think can be said, unless somebody dead was traded today, about every single person traded today. Say what you will,
hey, Ben
a live
Simmons,
body.
We don't know if he's.
We don't know.
We don't know if he's going to play. To be
1,
fair.
2, I would argue that in this studio right now, there are a bunch of bodies that I would not call live.
Right.
Our executive producer is one of them.
What is he so mad about? Why is he seething? Look at him. Look at what is happening with him. How is he doing? He
does seem upset.
He should be happy because he's got Goran Dragic. Goran Dragic makes the Miami Heat the deepest team in the league, does it not? You can't question that. Deepest team in the league.
They're saying Mavs.
Oh, it's the Golden State Warriors, and the Phoenix Suns are a deeper team than the Miami Heat.
You go deeper 12 deep. Not that it matters because they're only going to be playing 8 and 9 in the playoffs anyways, but you have them that, like if Goran Dragic is your backup point guard, are they getting him or not? Dallas is getting him?
Well, the reports at first were that Dallas is going to get him. Then Mark Stein, who lives in Dallas, is very connected with the Mavericks organization, said, pump your brakes, not so fast. This doesn't look like it's going to happen quickly. And also, Dallas expects to face very stiff competition for Goran Dragic. And as Zach pointed out, Goran's not living and working out in Dallas. He hasn't been living and working out in Washington or any of these other places. He's been living and working out in Miami. And so,
and the Miami Heat have 2 open roster spots right now because of the KZ Okpala trade yesterday.
Yep. So they have the wherewithal, they have the connection, obviously, and they have the need. And all Dallas really has is, play with Luka, who you played with 4 years ago, 5 years ago when he was 18 years old. I think that's something that's a little overblown. People thinking that Goran and Luka are like best of friends and they couldn't wait to play again together. And Goran, the reality is Goran played with Luka for the national team when Luka was a kid and Goran was a hero.
Yep.
And now Luka's the hero and Goran is just an old guy who probably tells him, hey, don't do it this way, do it that way. Relationships grow and relationships change. And I just think that what he has here in Miami, the relationships he has are more recent and also a stronger chance to, if you're Goran Dragic and your idea is that I want to win a championship, right? A great chance to win a championship. Dallas doesn't really look like it's. I just saw Dan gingerly.
That was the fastest I have ever seen Dan move getting out of this shot.
Salute to Billy Gill. I see you, my brother.
It looked like Fred Flintstone bowling.
Twinkle toes. That's what they call him.
That's what his feet made that noise as he ran off.
Dan got those twinkle toes. I see y'all. But
twinkle toes.
Zach,
absolutely.
Zach, another one. When you look at today's trade deadline or the TURD deadline, Tyrese Halliburton, that package did not go to the Philadelphia 76ers. The Indiana Pacers pick up not just Buddy Hield, but Tyrese Halliburton. What did you think about that trade, the Kings and the Pacers?
I described it as 2 sinking ships passing each other in the night.
Yeah.
Reshuffling each other's deck chairs. Look, nice pickup for both teams, right? Sabonis is instantly the best player that the Kings have. And for the Pacers, they weren't going anywhere anyway. Tyrese Halliburton's a much nicer contract to have. Buddy Hield's a guy you can either use or you can flip down the road. I think both teams benefit from it. I don't understand the internet reaction acting like the Kings just traded the next Chris Paul.
I know. The Ty Halliburton internet NBA Twitter love is
he's good.
He's good.
Like, he's a good player, but my God, like they did the same thing when Milwaukee got rid of Brogdon. It was, oh my God, what are they gonna do? Like, they'll figure it out. Like, you can have depth at that position. I actually think Davion Mitchell is really good. Like, he's not a shot maker, but he gives them something that no one else on that team does, which is play defense. Like, Halliburton wasn't doing that.
So
they have guys to score.
I know Amin doesn't feel bad for De'Aaron Fox because there's a history there, right? But I just kind of feel like, man, there's a lot of pressure on this dude because they didn't draft Luka Doncic. They drafted at the number 2 slot in the 2018 NBA draft. They drafted Marvin Bagley. They turned down Luka Doncic and Trae Young and say, we're going Marvin Bagley because, hey, we got De'Aaron Fox here on this team. You know, we're already set at point guard. And then a couple of years later, they trade away Marvin Bagley, and then they also trade away Tyrese Halliburton because they have De'Aaron Fox on a max contract. Like, De'Aaron Fox better be MJ, is all I'm saying. Like, if you're turning down Luka Doncic and Tyrese Halliburton just so that
and Ben Simmons. Because they could have had Ben Simmons, but they could have
had Ben Simmons,
with De'Aaron Fox.
That's probably the most egregious part of this. Like, you could have had Ben Simmons. He would easily be the best player. Like, I'd rather have him than Sabonis.
I just don't get it. Like, your dusty asses haven't been in the playoffs since Bonzi freaking Wells played there.
The Departed was in the theater.
Dude, George W. Bush was president of the United States. We hadn't had a black president yet.
The iPhone wasn't out.
There was no iPhones. Everyone was on Blackberries and Sidekicks.
Wow. Lil Bow Wow had braids.
Lil Bow Wow was Lil Bow Wow.
And a career.
Yeah, boom.
Well, salute to Lil Bow Wow. I don't like how we
salute to Lil Bow Wow.
Salute to you, Lil Bow Wow. I know you watching. Salute, brother.
Soulja Boy had a #1 hit.
Oh man, what a hit!
George Hill, biggest
traded?
surprise, not traded today. George Hill not traded.
Is it a trade deadline if George Hill wasn't traded?
So we had a caller, I don't know, weeks ago, right? I mean, on NBA radio where a guy suggested that George Hill is a bad luck charm.
And that Danny Green is like the good luck charm.
And Danny Green's a good luck charm. It's
true.
Right? And so the Sixers keep George Hill at this deadline. Is that more damning than any James Harden hamstring issue?
But hold on.
Yeah, maybe you got to knock him down from Milwaukee at number 2. Maybe you move Miami now that George Hill is still on the Bucks. Zach, what do you think about
What's
that?
on the Bucks? Where is he? He's on the Bucks?
What is wrong with you, Zach?
Since when?
We're going to play who he played for with Zach Harper. Should we
Do
play
it.
this game, who he played for?
After
Do
today?
it.
After today. Let's do that.
Montrezl Harrell.
Hornets.
Who he played for?
Aaron Holiday.
Phoenix?
Yes. All right, we are here live with Zach Harper. I'm Tom Haberstroh, your host of the internet's hottest news show on YouTube called Vet the Bet. We have Zach Harper on the line. Please tell me where PJ Washington is playing in the NBA right now.
Charlotte. He didn't get traded, right?
Totally just threw you a curveball there.
Oh, my God. Scared me for a second.
More like a fastball. Straight
I mean,
Malachi Flynn.
Oh, San Diego State legend, baby. That's Toronto.
Paul Millsap.
Oh, Paul Millsap got traded to the Sixers.
Nikhil Alexander
You
Walker.
gotta wait for the sound to play. Yeah.
You got to tell me what sound to play because I don't know half of these.
Oh, sorry. Okay.
Nikhil Alexander Walker got traded to the Jazz. Ooh, bonus round.
Wow! That was a new high score. Go ahead.
Bruno Fernando.
Houston.
I feel like the lie detector guy when he was testing Stugatz every time he gets one right.
Joe Ingles.
Oh, that's easy.
Well, legally Portland, but he's a Jazzman.
Chris Boucher.
He's still in Toronto.
Wait, was he in that fake trade?
He is still in Toronto. That was a fake.
Toronto.
Barry McCockner.
Thumbs up me.
He got fooled by the internet.
Oh, Tom got fooled by the internet?
Yes, he did.
What was the fake trade?
Drew Eubanks.
Nobody. He got waived.
Oh, he's so up to date. That's good. Wait, are you on Twitter right now? No, I mean if it's up on your screen though, like your hands don't need.
No,
to
I have the like publishing system of the Athletic behind.
Show me.
Zoom.
Hold it up
Will
to the
you
camera.
show you?
How do you?
The camera?
How do you want me to hold up my camera to my camera?
Figure
That
it
doesn't
out.
work.
Figure it out, you turd.
KZ Okpala.
Well, I didn't know he got traded until you guys said so. So I don't know. I'm gonna get this one wrong. I'll say Portland.
OKC.
Oh, sorry.
When did that happen?
Yesterday.
For what? What was the deal?
For nothing.
A second round
Yeah.
pick.
Open up a
Yeah.
roster spot there, Zach.
For Goran Dragic?
Man, everyone's saying Mavs. I'm bummed.
Why would it be the Mavs though? They have Dinwiddie, they have Jalen Brunson, they have Luka. Why would he go there?
Slovenia.
It's a Slovenian connection. Igor's the assistant there now?
Igor is an assistant.
Wow.
When Zoran's in Dallas, I'll believe it.
The Slovenian national coach and Luka Doncic.
Zach, here we go. Enes Kanter Freedom.
Nowhere he got waived.
Wrong.
What?
He's playing for
No.
Fox News now. Fox and Friends. That's where he's at.
Actually, you're wrong, Amin. Outkick.
Oh man, I think that we got to end on that one.
Oh,
For
as
Bet
far
the
as
Bet?
trivia?
Yeah. Yeah. And
Wait, or the whole show?
no, just
Oh.
saying the
Oh,
Bet
the
the
big
Bet. I
show,
was
yeah.
trying to do a hand signal to the executive
Yeah, but
producer.
like this means end the whole damn thing. Right?
I think you were looking for Apple, Tom. Apple.
Apple, yeah.
I don't get it.
All right, when you go out to dinner, Zach Harper, and there's 4 people at your dinner table, What is the maximum that it is okay socially to say the price of the wine bottle is going to be? I'm not giving you any information about the 4 people at that dinner table.
Okay.
So
what is the biggest? What is the max price that you think is socially acceptable at a dinner?
Splitting the tab.
We're all splitting the tab.
Yes.
Just even.
Yes.
Someone throws out a number and you're like, yeah, that seems doable, fair.
I mean, anything under, for the 4 of us, anything under 300, I'm good with.
Whoa!
What did it mean, cheap ass say?
Moneybags Harper.
Zach grew up.
I don't have kids. What do you want from? I don't have kids. I have a dog.
It's not about you in this. It's not about you.
Congrats
it's the rest
on growing up.
Renee Montgomery came on here and said $200.
Okay.
Is okay.
I mean, that's probably. Wow. Yeah.
You won up to her by a whole 100 by 33% inflation.
Wow, that's incredible.
I didn't spend all my money on the dream, you know? Like, she's got investments now. I'm liquid.
I didn't spend all my. That's for sure. I know for a fact that Zach Harper definitely didn't spend his money on the dream.
Spend it on shit.
A dream. Zach has no dreams.
I know for a fact Zach Harper's investing in collagen.
Oh man, look!
Wow.
You see this here, Mike. You see this shit?
God,
you know?
I'm
just how it goes.
I know you're supposed to ingest this stuff, but I'm just pouring it directly onto my head.
That's what you got. You pour it onto your head. If some creeps into the mouth, you're great. Like that's
it's
all
like
you
the
need
tap the top of the head and rub the tummy at the same
yeah.
time.
Hit me up for some liquid collagen. You guys need it. I gotta.
Chuggy.
And Oakley's.
Dude, I was
walking. Oh my God! Look, no one sold Oakley's back in the day like I did. Okay, nobody.
That's why you're liquid.
Exactly. I saved 75% on sunglasses every time I bought them. 75%.
Yo, Zach. Oh, I got one more. I know I said we had a couple, but I got one more for you. Armani Brooks.
Oh, that's our guy on Houston. He's still on Houston.
I don't know. John Holland just tweeting like he got waived.
You don't even have the answer?
You don't even know.
He says Armani Brooks is on a lightly guaranteed multi-year minimum and can really shoot.
We ended the game and we were done.
One of these,
but you decided to come back with someone that you don't know.
Well, I'm just quoting my friend John Hollinger here. He said one of these types should claim him on waivers. So that means he's on waivers, right?
John's dead to me though.
Why?
Just so you guys know.
What'd he do?
He never signed Ricky Davis to the Memphis Grizzlies. I badgered him every time I saw him to sign Ricky Davis, and he didn't. And guess how many titles they won? 0.
Maybe that's why, by the way, because you badgered him. It's like one of those things where like you're going so hard for him, and he said absolutely not.
Yeah, well, who's laughing now? Now he has to work with me.
All right, we have a new Vet the Bet question. Zach, your hands are in the air. Let me see him. Okay. Ricky Davis played for 6 NBA franchises. How many can you name?
Hornets.
Ding.
Heat. Cavs. Celtics. Timberwolves. Clippers. I think that's in order, too. I might have flipped the Wolves and the Celtics, but I'm pretty sure that's in order.
That was incredible. I mean, I'm sorry. I'm giving that an A+ today.
It was okay.
That performance by
all right.
Zach Harper, A+.
I believe he also competed in the dunk contest once for the Hornets and once for the Celtics.
He also purposely missed a fast break layup so he could get a triple-double
It wasn't
rebound.
a fast break layup. It was a shot on his own basket. He shot
on his own basket.
But
that's not even the most incredible play in Ricky Davis history. Everyone always goes to the failed triple-double attempt. There was a game when he played for the Cavaliers before LeBron got there. He's against the Philadelphia 76ers. They are down 20 points in the fourth quarter. He gets a breakaway, and he goes through the legs for a dunk, down 20 in the fourth quarter of a game. That's a hero right there.
I thought you were going to say the dunk on Steve Nash where he just kept saying, oh, shit.
That's number 2, and that was great because he looked right into the cameras for all the kids at home and just yelled, oh, shit, after he dunked on Steve Nash. It was great. Great family fun.
What is Ricky Davis doing right now, Zach Harper?
His son is actually a very good high school prospect, so I think he's coaching up his son. He's doing a little coaching on the AAU circuit.
All right, guys, we've got just about 40 seconds before this show is about to be over. Closing thoughts, Tom. on this trade deadline that was pretty wacky and wild?
Ish Smith joining the Washington Wizards is one of the saddest moments of my professional career, and I've got to get some new posters in my bedroom. I've got to change the background on my phone, and it's just really disappointing they didn't go to a new team. I just feel like he's got a checklist of all the NBA teams, and he went back to the Wizards, so we don't get a new team for Ish. My guy, Ish. I love you,
who the winner of the day is?
Who's that?
Everyone who subscribes and listens to Cinephobe, the podcast.
Oh, wow.
Whoa.
Wow,
it sounds like you got your mic cut off there, Zach. Wow.
Mike, while you're zapping people, do you have any closing thoughts on trade deadline day? Oh, look at that. Look at that logo there, Cinephobe. Wherever you get podcasts this week, Class Act, starring Chris Reed, Kid, and Chris, what's the other Chris name? Play. Chris Kid and Chris Play.
I think we're all sitting here awkwardly on the couch because we literally all have to drop some turds after the turd deadline.
Oh, my God. I am full of turd right now.
So much
Juju,
turds
any closing thoughts?
Salute to Dan and that eyeliner he still got on walking around the streets of Miami. I see you, big brother. Hopefully we get it off you soon.
All right, guys. We'll be back tomorrow. Again, LeBatard Show live starting 11 a.m. Eastern on YouTube. One more day of this. Tom, you won't be here, but I'll be around. I'm exhausted, and I have a city to conquer tonight. Good night, everybody. Listen to Cinephobe. Subscribe.